Chapter 449. But no matter what they thought, things were already set in stone. Right now, they had no choice. Only Jiang Changkong could help them establish a new celestial empire. The underworld dragon lineage had quite a lot of resources, no less than robbing the desolate forest of 1,000 years. More than 1 billion essence, energy, and spirit. Jiang Changkong used a long time to deal with it. He even asked the underworld dragon and its new friend for help. After destroying the West Wilderness Star Demon, he would see how many resources a celestial kingdom had. If it was a lot, he wouldn't need to destroy 7 celestial kingdoms. If he wanted to become a near god, his hopes were on the various countries. The Yellow Springs lineage, on the other hand, had a lot of golden matter. Jiang Changkong asked the underworld dragon where the golden matter came from. The underworld dragon replied that it opened the celestial gate. He thought of the golden light that appeared in the starry sky after the immortal god left the Flood Dragon King. It was this golden matter. Back then, the near god also said that it was inexhaustible. Jiang Changkong really wanted to try it. He took the time blade and went to cut some back. The underworld dragon pulled him back decisively, not letting him die. Even near gods couldn't act recklessly there. The golden matter in the starry sky was fought down by the ancient near gods with the 3 celestial palaces. Because of this, many near gods died. The 3 immortal, desolate battle bodies were killed by the golden matter. Once one attacked the golden matter, they would suffer the corresponding backlash. If one was not strong enough, they wouldn't be able to retreat. The 3 immortal, desolate battle bodies didn't retreat in time and attacked too deeply. The backlash was too terrifying. Jiang Changkong memorized this information. He planned to try it after he became a near god. Although opening the celestial gate was dangerous, the benefits were great. Maybe he would become a god or immortal as he opened it. The Yellow Springs army used the underworld dragon as their totem. The underworld dragon was very excited. The other near gods were dissatisfied but didn't say anything. After all, the underworld dragon and Jiang Changkong had a good relationship. The underworld dragon also used his name, Jiang Zhongming. The underworld dragon had no objections because it had no parents and was born naturally. Half a year passed in a flash. The true god's plan was very effective. They lured Jiang Chongyue out and killed her on the spot. Unfortunately, the Taiyin saber didn't appear, causing them to feel somewhat disappointed and unwilling. Because of the humiliation, Huang Qianlin of the East Sea Divine Nation led an army to attack the immortal nation of Earth. Because the Golden Feather race was still holding on, they were still able to hold on for now. They weren't completely wiped out, but they were slowly being pushed back. The Star Demon clan of the West Wilderness also mobilized an army to join the East Sea Divine Kingdom. It was the same for the West Sea Immortal Empire. Many factions from the Divine Wilderness joined the various nations, but no one joined the Earth Immortal Empire. In the Yellow Springs of Immortal Desolate, banners fluttered in the wind as an army gathered. In this death domain that was filled with dense death energy, there was now a palace with immortal energy lingering around it. This was left behind by the cultivator with the 3 great battle bodies. It was originally damaged, but it was repaired by the Yellow Spring lineage. They also set up a 3-light great formation that was close to god level. In Yin Luo Jian, Jiang Changkong had awakened. Jiang Changkong, Star Saint Peak Top Tier Middle Grade Martial Arts, Indestructible Golden Body, Perfected, 857 500 000/857 500 000 Tai Chi Sutra, Perfected, 1/857 500 000 Sun Sutra, Perfected, 1/857 500 000 Moon Sutra, Perfected, 1/857 500 000 Death Heavenly Blade, Perfected, 1/857 500 000 Sky Imperial Scripture, Perfected, 1/857 500 000 Cloud Tao, Perfected, 1/857 500 000 Top Tier Middle Grade Array Art, Battle Body Star Formation, Incomplete Perfected, 1/857 500 000 essence, energy, and spirit. 3633515888 by now. Jiang Changkong didn't lack the three-light great formation anymore. The immortal desolate had some left behind by the cultivator with the three great battle bodies. However, upgrading the battle body star formation could also increase his power, so he kept it. If it really didn't work, he could give up on upgrading it in the future. After putting away the treasures, the underworld dragon sensed something and came to the front of Yen Luo Dian, shouting, "The great emperor has come out of seclusion. The army is ready to move." Ghost Mother floated in the air and said in a sinister voice, "Bring the dragon robe, immortal crown, and summon the Yama ghost mask." A star sage ghost raised a dragon robe, a crown, and a green mask with sharp fangs on it. The door of Yin Luo Dian opened, and the dragon robe flew out and landed on Jiang Changkong's body. This dragon robe wasn't the underworld dragon, but it was embroidered with a divine dragon like the one outside. The crown was a top treasure of the Star Saint, but he couldn't see through the green mask. This is a deity artifact of the yellow spring branch. Although its power has been greatly reduced, it can still resist the prying of a near divinity. The nether dragon appeared and explained, "Then, let's go and conquer Shihuang." Jiang Changkong put on the mask and crown, and a powerful Tao aura swept out. The power of three lights shot into the sky. The yellow spring branch welcomes the great emperor. With a roar, countless Yin soldiers knelt down on one knee. Jiang Changkong rose into the sky, and a peak star Saint Nether Dragon flew over and carried him in the air. The endless yellow spring Yin soldiers were filled with death energy, ghost energy, and corpse energy, which was enough to destroy the sun and the moon. Great Emperor, the star passage has been built. It leads to a planet in the east of Shihuang. A mid-stage star Saint Ghost Cultivator said respectfully, "The yellow spring branches sent people to gather information. Shihuang is attacking Earth. The eastern defense line is weak, so it's the best place for us to attack. Great Emperor, please allow me to lead the yellow spring corpse Tao." A star saint with a green face and fangs asked. The yellow spring corpse Tao is obviously the Nether Dragon. The Nether Dragon under Jiang Changkong's feet glared at him. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. The Great Qin has just been established, and the yellow spring has just appeared. I will lead the army personally, and the corpse Tao and ghost Tao will go together. Your Majesty, how can you go personally? The yellow spring branch was shocked. If something happened to you, what would we do? Did you forget what I said? Don't go against my orders. This is the first time, so I won't hold it against you. Jiang Changkong's expression was cold. Go and destroy Shihuang. Yes, destroy Shihuang. Someone from the Yellow Springs bloodline shouted. The 9 near deities were confused. Destroy Shihuang? There are more than 2,000 star saints in Shihuang right now. Are you sure you could defeat them with just the 3 combat bodies? Jiang Changkong rode the Nether Dragon and entered the Stargate first. The Yellow Spring army followed closely behind. As for whether they could destroy Shihuang in one battle, Jiang Changkong wasn't sure either. If the near deities intervened, it definitely wouldn't work. Mother Harpy floated beside him. Great Emperor, isn't it a bit too hasty to destroy Shihuang in one battle? Should we slow down? We can't. Once we slow down, the near deities will react, and we won't be able to destroy them. Jiang Changkong's tone was cold as he explained, "What I want is to destroy Shihuang before they can react and start the war. Leave the near deities in Shihuang to us." Mother Harpy pondered and said, "Ever since Jiang Changyue started, the near deities couldn't help but join the fray. That's why they haven't started fighting yet. Because they want to give the 3 combat bodies time to become near deities. If it ends too early, they won't be able to open the gate of immortality." Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Mother Harpy nodded. The invisible pressure is forcing them to become near deities first. This is what the near deities want. Jiang Changkong sneered. In that case, he would directly ignite this war. Chapter 450. He had already figured out the nature of this group of near gods. They said the near gods wouldn't come out and let them kill each other. But in the end, He only kidnapped desolate Thousand Forest and extorted some resources from him. Then, the near gods came out and wanted to kill him. They went even further and arranged for near gods to stay in the Western Wilderness Imperial Palace. Other celestial kingdoms probably had near gods too. What about the battle physique being killed and the near gods not being fit to become immortals? If that was the case, then his second body wouldn't have been locked up. He could laugh in the end because those with weaker battle physiques were not his match. But the truth was that once this balance was broken, he would be targeted by the near gods. The underworld dragon roared and passed through the Stargate. Ghost Mother accompanied him to protect him. The green-fanged mask flowed with a mysterious aura. He wore a dragon robe, and no one knew his true identity. He also had the aura of the immortal barren land on him and the Yama mask. No one would be able to tell his true identity unless he exposed himself. Roar! The dragon's roar resounded through the entire planet. Jiang Changkong stood proudly on the dragon's head and said, "No need to stop. Charge to Western Wilderness." "What's that?" The star demon roared and wanted to charge forward. Boom! The power of 3 lights exploded and spread across the entire planet, engulfing all the star demon. Countless star demon perished. Their bodies and souls were preserved, but they were slightly damaged. Logistics personnel, clean up the battlefield. We will charge to Western Wilderness Imperial Palace. Jiang Changkong urged the underworld dragon to enter the Stargate again. He had destroyed a planet alone. Without the 3 battle physiques and a near god, no one would be able to withstand a single move from Jiang Changkong. Even if he had the 3 great combat physiques, he would at most be able to withstand a few moves from the current him. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The Yellow Springs people roared excitedly. He destroyed a planet just like that? Jiang Changkong's speed was very fast. A star was directly destroyed, and even the news had spread out. The Western Wilderness Star Demon had yet to react. 4 days later, after losing several stars in a row, the news finally got out. Immortal Desolate, Yellow Springs, the Immortal Desolate region doesn't have a peerless battle body. Inside the Western Wasteland Imperial Palace, the Star Demon Great Emperor roared as he stared coldly at the Star Sages of the various races. "Your Majesty, it looks like the Yellow Springs bloodline hid the news and waited until now." A Peak Star Saint said respectfully, "Master of the Water Vein, I confer upon you the title of Marshal and give you an army of 1,000,000. 3 Peak Star Saint battleships. Can you stop the Yellow Springs vein?" The Star Demon Great Emperor stared coldly at a blue-haired woman. "I, Shui Yu, will destroy the Yellow Springs." The Water Vein's master, Shui Yu, a Peak Star Saint expert, was overjoyed when she heard this. Ever since he joined the Western Wilderness Divine Kingdom, he had not made any contributions. This was an opportunity. With 3 Peak Star Sacred battleships, a few Star Sacred battleships, and himself, even if they couldn't destroy the Yellow Springs, they could at least stop it. The Star Demon Emperor was still a little worried. "Master of the Metal Vein, Black Scale, you too assist Marshal Waterheart." "Yes, Your Majesty." A Star Demon and a Peak Star Saint of the Metal Vein replied respectfully. This lineup was not bad. All 3 of them were Peak Star Saints, and there would be 3 more on the battleships. Including the battleships, it would be equivalent to 9 Peak Star Saints. Without near divinity, it would be difficult to find an opponent with this strength. The 3 received the order and drove the battleships into the Stargate, heading towards the battlefield. On the other side, Jiang Changkong had just destroyed a planet. "Your Majesty, the news has spread. What do we do next?" The Nether Dragon asked. "Continue to kill. I've said it before, we will destroy Western Wilderness in one battle." Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. "Enter the Stargate." The Nether Dragon roared and charged into the Stargate with him again. A portion of the Yellow Springs logistics team was left behind to modify the planets and turn them into a paradise of death. "Your Majesty, should we change the way we fight? My Yellow Springs vein hasn't even done anything. You're the one taking care of everything." Mother Harpy hesitated. "I'm not trying to contradict you. I just feel that it doesn't match your status as a great emperor." She could only negotiate with this great emperor in a friendly manner. He could quit at the slightest disagreement. with the merfolk king's face on top of that. Even a near divinity like her could only endure. The first step for the three great combat bodies to enter the galaxy is to establish dominance, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Back then, Earth's Nin Yuyang killed 4 peak star saints. I thought that was enough, but it's clearly not enough. Your Majesty wants to use Western Wilderness to establish dominance. Mother Harpy asked eerily. Only one country is qualified for me to establish dominance and for Yellow Springs to be famous, Jiang Changkong said coldly. Mother Harpy nodded. The Yellow Springs vein awaits your Majesty's orders. Since Jiang Changkong wasn't hot-headed and had other ideas, there was no need to persuade him, because Jiang Changkong's words made sense. Moreover, they were here to unify the galaxy, or at least to destroy it. There was no telling how long it would take for the three great combat bodies to become near divinity. A day later, they passed through the Stargate and arrived at another galaxy. An endless army, 3 warships, and 6 peak star saints blocked their way. Yellow Springs vein, it's fine if you disappear. We won't disturb each other. Why are you attacking the Western Wilderness Divine Kingdom? Shui Xin stood in front of the warship and asked coldly. Your Majesty, our people aren't here yet. Should we retreat? Mother Harpy asked. She couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. Since the start of the battle, it had always been Jiang Changkong leading the Nether Dragon at the front. A bunch of ants. Kill them all. Jiang Changkong said coldly. Kill. Roar. The Nether Dragon roared. The Peak Star Saint Nether Dragon turned into a 3,000-meter-long dragon and charged at the million-strong army. You're courting death. Kill them all. Shui Xian's expression was cold and murderous. The Star Demon charged at them. 3 beams of light shot into the sky and turned into 3 stars that poured down endless divine light. Wherever the Nether Dragon passed, the 3 beams of light followed. The Star Demon and humans were all turned into corpses. 3 great war physiques. You're personally taking action. The expressions of Shui Xin and the others changed drastically. This was too unconventional. How could a country's majesty personally take action? This is called the Imperial Army. Jiang Changkong's Yama mask glowed with a horrifying light. Wherever it passed, high-level martial artists and star saints were all turned into corpses. As long as there was someone close to a true god supporting him, Jiang Changkong dared to destroy a country all by himself. What *T, celestial nation or divine nation? Without a true god, the entire nation was no match for him. Surrender. We surrender. Shui Xian and the other 2 screamed. They could surrender and wait for Western Wilderness to redeem them with resources. Under normal circumstances, their opponents would accept the surrender and extort large amounts of resources. Unfortunately, they met someone who didn't follow the rules. I don't accept surrender. Jiang Changkong pressed in the air, and an invisible force spread. A bloody hole appeared in the foreheads of the 6 peak star saints, and their bodies dissipated. The starry battleship's great Tao light beam fell, but it couldn't even break the divine light. Wherever the 3 beams of light passed, the battleship was torn apart, and the living beings inside turned into corpses. If it weren't for the Yellow Springs bloodline, he would have turned these people into ashes and disappeared. The million-strong army didn't even cause a ripple. They were all annihilated, but the news had also spread. Chapter 451. Western Wasteland Imperial Palace. The divine nation's great emperor's face was extremely ugly. Personally leading the army, not accepting surrender. Could it be that he had to lead the army himself? What the hell were these guys from the Immortal Desolate doing? Why did they only come out now? And they were too ruthless. Normally, if they could subdue someone, they would directly subdue them to strengthen their own forces. But the great Qin that came out of the Immortal Desolate did not do that. If they could kill them all, they would. If they couldn't, they would chase after them and kill them all. The Star Demon Emperor felt that his opponent this time had a hole in his head. Dear ministers, who is willing to destroy the Yellow Springs and destroy the Great Qin? The Star Demon Emperor scanned the audience. The audience was silent. Dozens of peak star saints dared not speak. They have the 3 great war bodies and are leading the army personally. Are we going to die? Among those present, only you can fight against them. Are you not going? The Star Demon Emperor's face was cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. These useless people, each of them was more powerful than the other in their daily struggles for power and resources. Now that they were in trouble, none of them dared to go. I will lead the army personally, the Star Demon Emperor said through gritted teeth. Who made the 3 great war bodies to be the enemy? Your Majesty, you can't. A star demon at the peak of the Star Sages hurriedly stood up and advised, the Qin state is probably trying to lure the great emperor out. Yes, the Qin state must have planned this. Leading the army personally is likely to be a trap. The other peak Star Saints quickly advised, don't be hot-headed and learn from them. What they set up a divine array and wait for you to go in. Then what do you have? The Star Demon Emperor said coldly, Your Majesty, the divine ancestors mean to wait until the great emperor becomes a divine being before starting the war. We can inform the Qin state first and ask them to stop. The Star Demon Emperor said respectfully, What if the Qin state's great emperor doesn't agree? The Star Demon Emperor asked coldly, Your Majesty, if he doesn't agree, we will let them come. The Imperial Star is full of divine arrays. The Qin state's great emperor should be as strong as you. With the divine arrays, he will definitely die. The other peak Star Saints advised, What if he doesn't come in and surround the Imperial Star? The Star Demon Emperor was a little annoyed and sullen. If the other party could personally lead the troops in a battle, why couldn't he? The people of Yellow Springs were also crazy. They actually allowed their great emperor to lead the charge. It was so tiring to fight with such a person. Great Emperor, there's a divine proximity formation around the Imperial Star. Even if we don't come in, we can still use the divine proximity formation to push the Imperial Star over. The Star Saints explained, when the time comes, we'll ally with the East Sea and West Sea to destroy Great Qin. Yes, Your Majesty, we still have 2 allies. The Star Sages finally remembered their 2 allies. The Star Demon Emperor's expression softened slightly, and he gradually calmed down. Then let's do this. I will contact the emperors of the 2 empires. Your Majesty is wise. Star Demon Emperor, I feel that you are mocking me. It was difficult to determine a winner among the 3 war physiques. Fighting in someone else's territory was indeed disadvantageous to me. Just in case, I should contact the emperors of the 2 empires and have them send reinforcements to increase the divine proximity formation's power. I will be the first person to kill the 3 war physiques. I will be the one to have the last laugh. The Star Demon Emperor felt a surge of pride. I will definitely be the one to become an immortal in the end. Having made his decision, he ordered the martial artists of the other empires to retreat. As a result, Jiang Chongkong was able to go on a rampage without being able to stop him. This Star Demon is too cowardly, Jiang Chongkong said disdainfully. On the other hand, he had looted quite a lot of resources recently. He didn't know how much these living beings had gotten, but there were actually 100 million resources. If they all retreated now, he and the Yellow Springs branch wouldn't be able to get anything. If he continued like this, the West Desolate Star Demon Empire's resources would definitely be enough for him to perfect a martial art and still have some left over. Also, their national treasuries were all their own. As for the Yellow Springs branch, they didn't need to share resources. In that case, what was the point of incorporating them? Everything would be his. Once he became an immortal, he could throw the resources he didn't need to the empires, his senior sisters, and the others. Many of these resources were top-grade herbs. Although there weren't any near divine proximity formation, the National Treasury definitely had some. Who knew? He might be able to stack the 3 senior sisters into divine proximity formations. As he thought happily, Jiang Chongkong entered the Stargate again. This time, his destination was the West Desolate capital. 7 days later, Jiang Chongkong, the Nether Dragon, and Mother Ghost Mother arrived at the West Desolate Imperial planet. It was a planet covered by a divine proximity formation. The Imperial Palace radiated boundless divine power. The patterns of the Great Tao were like chains stretching across the air. In the air, Many star sacred realm martial artists released their astral power to activate the formation's power. The star demon emperor stood at the center of the imperial planet, his body filled with the power of the three lights. These melee great formations were all hybrid formations, not just single formations. Jiang Changkong put his hands behind his back, not showing any fear. Even without using the four Dao forms, he could still beat everything. Only a pair of cold eyes could be seen under the green fang mask. West Desolate Ant, are you surrendering with your people? The Nether Dragon carried Jiang Changkong into the air and confronted the Star Demon Emperor. I've been tolerating you for a long time because I didn't want you, the one with the three great combat bodies, to die young. The Star Demon Emperor's expression was dark. He said coldly, but not only did you not know what's good for you, you even wanted a foot after being given an inch. Today, I'll give you one last chance. Take your Yellow Springs branch and get out of West Desolate. Then, pay 1,000,000 star sacred resources, and I'll pardon you. Jiang Changkong fell silent. He felt that the emperor wasn't just stupid, he was full of holes. I've already attacked your capital. How can you say you'll pardon me? I'm clearly more powerful than you, okay? The star demon doesn't deserve to live. Three lights bloomed around Jiang Changkong. One of the lights protected the Nether Dragon and brought him into the spatial tunnel. I will destroy West Desolate alone. Ant, you've completely angered me. The Star Demon Emperor roared. He could no longer suppress the killing intent and excitement in his heart. He wanted to be the first emperor to kill the one with the three great combat bodies. The most powerful emperor. The closed god array bloomed. Mother Ghost hid in the air and didn't interfere in this battle. But she also wouldn't let the near gods of West Desolate interfere. Kill! Many angry roars sounded. The star sages released their power, and the Dao chains pressed down. The three lights intertwined. The Tai-Yin sword and the Tai-Yang sword slashed down with the power of the three lights. Buzz! Jiang Changkong didn't hesitate. He activated the three great Dao forms, and Dao patterns lit up the entire Imperial Star. He punched at the Dao chains, including the Star Demon Emperor. Boom! The Imperial Star shook. The Dao chain shattered. The power of the three lights followed and clashed with the Tai-Yin sword and the Tai-Yang sword. Clang! The swords fell, but it was as if they had struck something indestructible. The violent power swept out, and the Star Demon Emperor was sent flying for thousands of miles. Drops of golden blood dripped from the three lights' fists. His skin was broken, but the blood flew back and the injury healed. The closed god array is too far away from the near gods, Jiang Changkong said disdainfully. The difference was too big. Even with the support of the many star sages, they couldn't display the power to rule over everything. Chapter 452. Jiang Changkong held a Dao chain in one hand and dragged it. The entire Imperial Star trembled and was on the verge of collapse. Large amounts of mountain ranges collapsed, and star formations were breaking apart. One after another, the bodies of the star's sacred beasts exploded into a mist of blood, unable to reassemble. Jiang Changkong punched. Star arrays collapsed, buildings were destroyed, and countless living beings wailed. Only Jiang Changkong, who had three Dao forms, was infinitely close to becoming a god. Jiang Changkong was actually not satisfied with the damage he had caused. He could destroy the entire Imperial planet with one punch after activating the four Dao forms. Now that his Dao forms have been carved and his indestructible golden body had been perfected, the three battle forms could break his skin. As for the other star saints, even if they controlled the god-killing array, there was only one result. They couldn't break his defense. Kill! I don't believe you've become a god. The Star Demon Emperor roared. He had three battle forms and was a peak star saint. With the support of the god-killing array, he was infinitely close to becoming a god. The other emperors didn't dare to come to the Imperial planet. How could it not stop a new emperor? Boom! With a single palm strike, Jiang Changkong shattered the near-god grand array and directly smashed this great emperor into the ground. You don't know how strong I am. Billions of stars flowed inside Jiang Changkong's body, like a collection of stars. At this stage, it was almost equivalent to a real combination of stars. When he transformed into a deity, he would definitely have the power of the entire universe. The Star Demon Emperor's body cracked. He roared and released 3 lights. However, before he could rush out, he was slammed into the ground again. Jiang Changkong's 3 lights continued to spread, shattering the patterns of the Great Path. The god-killing array that he had to look up to had become extremely fragile. It was like tofu. Star sages exploded one after another. Faced with the unbridled Jiang Changkong, no one could stop him. Unless he was a god. A strong sense of danger came. Jiang Changkong sneered and looked at the sky, but he didn't stop. Let him go. Now is not the time for you to fight. A nearing god star demon suppressed the void, and all nearing god spell formations came to a standstill. Why didn't you come out before we made our move? Jiang Changkong's expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. When I become a god, I will kill you. Courting death. The star demon's expression turned cold. None of the 3 combat bodies dared to challenge the star demon. Even if he had such thoughts, he didn't dare to show it. Jiang Changkong was the first person to do so. It also meant that he could not be controlled. This kind of uncontrollable person must be eliminated. The star demon, who was close to a god, covered the entire imperial star with one palm. A Tao might that was above all things swept out. Close to God, at the peak of the starry sky, the intense pressure caused all of the star saints to prostrate. Even the heavily injured star demon emperor felt a sense of helplessness. Qin Empire's emperor, you are seeking death. The star demon emperor sneered. They all had thoughts about the nearing god, but no one dared to show it. They thought that after this fiasco and the compensation of resources, the matter would be over. Unexpectedly, Jiang Changkong took the initiative to provoke the nearing god. A delicate laughter sounded, but it carried a gloomy aura. Boundless coldness and dense death energy surged. A huge face broke the sky-covering palm and coldly looked at the nearing god star demon. Underworld demon mother. The nearing god star demon's expression darkened. What is the meaning of this? Are you trying to hinder the path to immortality? It's been a long time since I tasted nearing God. Just satisfy me. The huge face revealed a ferocious smile and directly drilled into the nearing god star demon's body. You boom. The nearing god star demon exploded. Boundless ghost energy swept out, wrapped around the nearing god's body, and flew out of the imperial star. Now it's our turn. Jiang Changkong smiled. Nearing god star demon? This ghost mother was at the limit of nearing god. Even a peak nearing god wouldn't be a match for ghost mother. Great Qin Emperor, I'm willing to surrender. You'll be my leader in the future. The star demon emperor panicked. The nearing god star demon had been destroyed. He was completely unreliable. In the great Qin Empire, from emperors to nearing gods, none of them followed the rules. They even dared to kill nearing gods. I said, I don't accept surrender. Jiang Changkong snorted and grabbed the star demon emperor with one hand. The power of 3 lights surged out and forcefully destroyed the star demon emperor. Even if the star demon emperor had high resistance against the power of 3 lights, Jiang Changkong wouldn't be able to withstand the endless power of 3 lights. Great Qin Emperor, you're breaking the treaty. The nearing god won't let you go. The star demon emperor roared, still making a final struggle. Bullsh *T treaty. I've just left the immortal desolate, so I don't know. Jiang Changkong sneered. As long as he killed the star demon emperor, he could evade everything. With the mediation of the Merfolk king, would those nearing gods start a war? With a loud boom, the star demon emperor exploded, but his body was still healing. Jiang Changkong continued to pour the power of 3 lights into the star demon emperor, repeatedly killing him. In the end, when the star demon emperor had a single breath left, Jiang Changkong healed him. The star demon emperor's aura was weak, and the killing intent in his heart had already dissipated. Great Qin Emperor, you're strong, and I didn't lose unjustly. I just hope that you can treat the star race well. I can order the entire star race to follow you and fight for you. He had no other choice. Once he died, no one would be able to protect the star demon. I left you alive to tell you that the star demon doesn't deserve to live. Jiang Changkong's expression was cold to the extreme. The power of 3 lights in his hand exploded out, completely destroying the Star Demon Emperor's life force. From the start, I wanted to kill all the Star Demon Emperors. Treat them well. Isn't this a joke? Jiang Changkong looked at the remaining Star Sages who were still alive. They were all heavily injured, and their expressions were filled with fear. Emperor, I'm from the West Ocean. I'm willing to be your captive. I'm from the East Ocean. The East Ocean Emperor will definitely use resources to redeem me. Please don't kill me. I don't need captives. I don't accept surrenders. Jiang Changkong's expression was indifferent. The power of 3 lights passed through, and the Star Saint died. On the Imperial planet, all living beings were killed. Roar! After the battle ended, the Yellow Springs people rushed over to clean up the battlefield. In an instant, ghosts danced, and deathly aura corroded the Imperial planet. Pass my decree. Tell the East Ocean and West Ocean to support the West Wilderness Star Demon. He caused Great Sheen to suffer heavy casualties, and immediately compensate them with 1 million Star Saint resources. Otherwise, the army will move out and destroy the 2 countries. Give him 1 day to consider. Jiang Changkong's voice was like thunder, resounding throughout the Imperial planet. The gods who followed him were dumbfounded. You killed all of them, and you still want compensation? Is there such a thing? Are you still not going to carry it out? Jiang Changkong said coldly. Yes, Emperor. A group of evil spirits and corpse cultivators took out their devices and contacted the 2 countries to ask for compensation. The Imperial Palace flew over, and a group of nether dragons carried it in the air. Jiang Changkong entered the Imperial Palace and sat on the dragon throne. Below him were the Yellow Spring Star Saints and nether dragons. Congratulations, Emperor, for conquering West Wilderness. The 2 paths of Yellow Springs all had respectful expressions, without a trace of falsehood. Jiang Changkong single-handedly conquered West Wilderness, establishing his prestige to the outside world and also to the inside world. In the past, when there were near gods, no one dared to disobey. Now, there were no near gods, and no one dared to disobey. Those who disobeyed would be killed. As for combat power, it was enough to have him. They were just taking advantage of the situation. Did they have the face to cause trouble? If they dared to disrespect Jiang Changkong, he would kill them, no matter who they were. Chapter 453. Your Majesty, West Desolation has been conquered. Will the corpses and souls be distributed according to Yellow Springs rules? Or? A Star Saint Dark Dragon asked. How did you distribute them before? Jiang Changkong asked. Before, it belonged to whoever killed them, but this time, it was your Majesty, the Star Saint Dark Dragon said respectfully. Keep one of the corpses you took, and hand the rest to the National Treasury as rewards. Jiang Changkong pondered. As for those who didn't, we'll have to work harder. Your Majesty, are you planning to continue the war? The Dark Dragon was worried. No, I can't for now. The near deities are coming. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. But West Desolation is not completely destroyed. Listen up, I want West Desolation to become the underworld and a paradise for Yellow Springs. Apart from Earth, no living beings are allowed to appear in West Desolation, especially the Star Demon. At the end, Jiang Changkong's expression was extremely cold. Thank you, Your Majesty, the Yellow Springs Star Saints said excitedly. This was clearly a reward. West Desolation becoming the underworld was their Yellow Springs paradise. The following corpses and souls will be distributed according to your Yellow Springs rules. How much you get will depend on your own strength. Also, don't get into conflict with each other. Jiang Changkong ordered coldly. Yes, Your Majesty. The Star Saints were even more excited. This time, Yellow Springs' power was about to increase. Quickly take stock of West Desolation's resources and hand them over to me. Jiang Changkong ordered. Resources were the most important, including the Star Saints' resources. The Star Saints left, but the Dark Dragon did not. It floated in front of Jiang Changkong and said pitifully, I didn't get any corpses. Cough, Brother Dragon. You're too weak. Jiang Changkong was a bit embarrassed, But it's fine, you'll get them when they hand them over to the National Treasury. I have a name, Brother Space. I'm Jiang Ming. The Dark Dragon said unhappily. Fine, I'll call you Brother Ming. Jiang Kong rubbed his chin and thought, quickly take the corpses and secretly keep some. Don't go overboard. All right, I'll go right away. Jiang Ming left excitedly. The great emperor personally invited him, so he had to seize this opportunity. If he couldn't catch it, Jiang Kong could only reward it to him in the future. I can't just throw the entire national treasury to him. How am I going to distribute it to the Huang Quan soldiers? Jiang Ming transformed into a young man and arrived beside his companions. What are you guys doing? Jiang Ming asked curiously. Contact the two countries and ask them for compensation, a young man said. You haven't contacted him yet? Let me explain. Jiang Ming said excitedly. He had to get a lot of resources for his little brother. Otherwise, he would be letting down the fat job that his little brother had given him. Very soon, the call connected. It was the Eastern Sea Emperor, Huang Qianlin. Who are you? Huang Qianlin frowned, and his expression turned cold. Where is the great emperor of the Western Wasteland? Little Huang, the Western Desolate has already been destroyed. Now, it's the Grand Qin Immortal Empire. Jiang Ming laughed. Desolate Thousand Forest, an old acquaintance. The great emperor who had been kidnapped and beaten up by his little brother. Huang Qianlin's expression darkened. Little Huang? Who gave you the courage to call me that? The Western Desolate was destroyed? The Great Qin Immortal Empire? What situation was this? Didn't the great emperor of the Western Desolate say that they would have a decisive battle on the Imperial Star? There was a grand formation near the great emperor of the Western Desolate, as well as the reinforcements he sent. How could they be destroyed? Great Qin Immortal Empire? I want to speak to your great emperor. Huang Qianlin's expression returned to normal as he calmly spoke. You don't have the qualifications to see our great emperor. Jiang Ming spoke in disdain. Our great emperor said that you sent reinforcements to the Western Desolate, causing Great Qin to suffer heavy casualties. Now, compensate us with 5 million Star Sage cultivation resources. If not, we will destroy your Eastern Sea Divine Empire. Where are our troops? Kill them all. Bang! The screen directly turned black. A young man pondered. I dare to bet that Huang Qianlin smashed the device. Didn't the great emperor say 1 million? You directly increased it by 5 times. If it was me, I would also smash the device. Another young female ghost spoke unkindly. Jiang Ming, you are tampering with the great emperor's decree. Don't think that you can act recklessly just because you have a good relationship with the great emperor. I didn't. The great emperor said 1 million. 5 million is also 1 million. Jiang Ming spoke seriously. The great emperor only said 1 million and didn't give us any specifics. He just wants us to do what we want. The bottom line is 1 million. Is that so? The few of them were somewhat dumbfounded. That's right. Negotiations on Earth are all like this. Give us a bottom line and let us do what we want. The great emperor said that this is called raising the price on the ground and returning the money on the ground. We can discuss this. Jiang Ming spoke solemnly, explaining this matter to them. The few young men were enlightened, but they soon lost their composure. But Huang Qianlin doesn't want to discuss with us. He directly smashed the device. How could they discuss this? It's fine. There's still the Western Sea, Jiang Kong said. Let me do it this time, the young female ghost said. Jiang Ming also wanted to see if they had improved or not. 15 minutes later, our great emperor said that you have to compensate 9,900,000 Star Sage cultivation resources. Otherwise, he will destroy your entire empire. Bang! The device was smashed again. The few of them stared at the black screen and sighed heavily. Another non-negotiable condition. These two great emperors are both idiots. They've never bought vegetables on Earth before. Let's go. Jiang Ming shook his head and prepared to take them to collect the corpses. His companions' faces turned green. Did you learn negotiation from buying vegetables? On the other side, the two great emperors were furious. You've killed all my people, and you still want compensation? We're the ones who suffered heavy casualties. If you keep them, We might get resources to redeem them. But you killed them all and still want compensation? It's fine if you want compensation, but you want millions? Do you think resources are weeds? After being angry for a long time, the two great emperors finally contacted the near gods. The destruction of Western Desolation was too serious. As for sending troops to attack, they didn't believe it at all. Even if you destroyed Western Desolation, the near gods would still find trouble with you. Under such circumstances, they still have the mood to attack us? Even now, they had the ability to destroy Earth's celestial kingdoms, but they hadn't truly destroyed them. The near gods wouldn't allow it. The near gods in charge of the two kingdoms had already received the news. Their expressions were extremely cold. The near gods in charge of Western Desolation had been killed. This wasn't just destroying a kingdom, but also a near god. Was the new Great Qin crazy? How dare they attack the near gods at this time? No need to panic. The near gods have gone to investigate, the two near gods said calmly. Seeing that the near gods were so calm, the two great emperors were relieved. They went into seclusion to study the path of the near gods. Many of these near gods were at the limit of the near gods. Outside the imperial planet, the 9 near gods of Hades had wooden expressions, waiting for their arrival. A few days later, thousands of flowers bloomed, the water rippled, and golden light covered the path. Ghost Mother is finally willing to come out. Hua Tianrui has missed her for a long time. In the grand flower, Hua Tianrui looked at Ghost Mother with a smile. Old friend, long time no see, the Mermaid King said with a smile. Old friend, long time no see, the Mermaid King said with a smile. Soul near gods, body near gods, all kinds of ancient near gods and new near gods had gathered outside the imperial planet. This time, things had gone out of their control again. In the space where the sub was, after seeing the near gods leave, he looked at Ing Lioli, who was not far away, and walked over. Chapter 454. In the boundless sea of flowers, Ing Lioli frowned. Her face was full of worry. Ing Lioli. The deputy came to her side with a smile. Are you worried about the celestial nation of Earth? Yes, Ing Lioli responded, feeling down and solemn. The celestial nation of Earth was in an awkward position. The weakest immortal empire was still in a state of chaos. If Nan Yuyang didn't have the 3 war physiques, he would have been replaced. Now, he could only send a near god to oversee the nation, but he couldn't interfere with its development. This worried her. She was afraid that one day, the celestial nation of Earth would no longer exist. Jiang Chongkong smiled and plucked a flower. You can still smile now. Ing Lioli admired his mentality. He could still smile at a time like this. I'm here to ask for a favor, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. What can I help you with now? Ing Lioli sighed. There are so many near gods keeping each other in check. There's nothing I can do. The near gods of the various nations were gathered together. Together with the old near gods, they would do anything to become immortals. They would go back on their words and kill anyone who stood in their way of becoming immortals. Jiang Chongkong looked at her. She was wearing a blue dress, and there was worry on her face. She looked more like a weak woman. After a moment of silence, Jiang Chongkong swept away the strange emotions in his heart. If I die one day, please burn my body and bring it back to my homeland. Ing Lioli frowned. There was a hint of coldness on her solemn face. I will protect you. I promise. I'm not afraid of death. I just don't want to die and become a star crystal after I die. Also, don't let anyone see when you burn my body. Jiang Chongkong had a self-deprecating look on his face. Speaking of which, apart from the 3 senior sisters, I really don't have any attachments. Jiang Chongkong, what's wrong with you today? Ing Lioli frowned. She felt that Jiang Chongkong was not normal today. Jiang Chongkong smiled faintly. Nothing, just in case. You don't have to protect me anymore. Are you seeking death? Ing Lioli's expression changed slightly. I told you it's just in case. Jiang Chongkong smiled and changed the topic. By the way, why did these demigods leave? The West Baron was destroyed. A man with the 3 great war form was killed. Ing Lioli didn't hide anything. Huh. Jiang Chongkong seemed to have just found out. He scoffed. Who said that they would not interfere? Serves them right if they were killed. Now, They can't wait to go over. Liuli fell silent, not knowing how to respond. Jiang Changkong did not say anything else. He returned to the sea of flowers and sat down cross-legged. On the other side, a group of true gods were meeting. Everyone, why have you come to Great Qin? Ghost Mother and the other near gods coldly looked at them. It's not the final moment yet. Isn't that person from Great Qin a bit too impatient? Why didn't you come out when the Stargate opened? A near god questioned coldly. Is this the tone you use to talk to your seniors? Ghost Mother looked at the near god gloomily, her ghostly aura surging. Ghost Mother, why do you have to be so murderous? Hua, Tianrui chuckled. Thousands of flowers bloomed around them, brightening the star region. We are all here to become immortals. Please understand, Ghost Mother. Ghost Mother, we have been waiting for immortals for so many years. The opportunity is right in front of us. We can't allow any accidents to happen, the near god said. Haha, no, accidents? Jiang Changkong was an accident, and you imprisoned him. Jiang Changyue was an accident, and you lured him out to kill him. Now you say that we are an accident? A skeleton laughed weirdly, its empty eye sockets emitting green light. What? Are you going to kill us now? Ghost King, you must be joking. We are all here to become immortals. Everything can be discussed, the King of Mermaids said with a smile. His azure scepter shone brightly. I've been friends with you for so many years, and we are best friends. Why would I use force? What does the King of Mermaids mean? The near god dragon frowned. The King of Mermaids said with a faint smile, the Emperor's background. Also, please hold off. The real game has yet to begin. The Great Qin Emperor is a genius of the immortal wilderness. I happened to save him during a crisis, and he has been nurturing him ever since. Ghost Mother said coldly. Are you satisfied with this explanation? Yes, of course. The King of Mermaids nodded. He believed the explanation. Can we stop the battle? We are also anxious to become immortals. Since we're going to determine a winner, why don't we settle it earlier and choose the strongest to nurture? Ghost Mother's pale face became even more sinister. It is still too early to determine the winner. Only one of the 3 combat bodies is left. The 3 lights' immortal palace will appear, and the 3 immortal artifacts will reunite. The 3 combat bodies of a peak star saint won't be able to control these powers, and it will be even more difficult to fuse them. Hua Tianrui explained, this will harm them. The near gods of Yellow Spring sneered. Harm them? You are worried that the path to immortality will be cut short, right? They could also tell that the near gods wanted to tame the 3 combat bodies before opening the gate of immortality. They wanted them to be obedient and send themselves to death. Unfortunately, the one in the immortal desolate was too anxious. If he had not opened the path to immortality by himself, he would have been able to wipe out the near gods and restore peace to the universe. Please understand, the near god said calmly. Fine, for the sake of immortality, we agree. The near gods sighed helplessly and agreed. Now is not the time to fight. Even if they had 2 near gods and the King of Mermaids, they had no chance of winning. Thank you for your understanding. The near gods bowed and turned into light and left. None of them mentioned the near god who had died. The King of Mermaids also left, merging into the void and disappearing. The near gods of Yellow Spring snorted and left. Inside the palace, Jiang Changkong sat on the dragon throne with his hands supporting his head, pretending to be asleep. The void rippled and the near gods returned. Emperor, we have stalled them, but we can't attack for now. Ghost Mother replied and told him everything. Jiang Changkong smiled faintly. When I come out of seclusion, I will destroy another one. Emperor, I am afraid they are all paying attention to Great Qin. Everyone frowned. No worries, fighting is beneficial for me. When I come out of seclusion, I will sense the near god Tao. Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Is this reason enough? The near gods looked at each other, and Ghost Mother said coldly, we can try. I will have to trouble you in the following days. Jiang Changkong nodded slightly and let the near gods leave. Half a month later, all the resources were settled. There was a total of 163 billion. Including what he had obtained before, it was a little over 2 1 billion. The desolate forest that he had conned back then was really too much for him. Conquering West Wilderness only gave him 6 billion, but he had conned 1 billion back then. Jiang Chongkong got the resources, extracted his essence, chi, and spirit, and started seclusion. It was enough for him to perfect 2 martial arts. He wondered if his 3 Tao bodies would be able to reach the near God realm. As Jiang Chongkong went into seclusion, the starry sky became peaceful again. The emperors of East Sea and West Sea were worried at first, but when they saw that there was no movement from Great Qin, they were completely relieved. They were even more wary of the near gods. Even the near gods of Yellow Spring, who could kill 3 battle bodies, could not go against the near gods' orders. Chapter 455. Jiang Chongkong could imagine how stifled the other great emperors were. But the Great Qin was different. No one dared to disturb him when he said he was going into seclusion, not even close gods. Jiang Chongkong meant what he said. No one could object. On the other hand, the great emperors might be called out of seclusion for some stupid reason. If they couldn't make up their minds, they'd go to the gods. They were no different from puppets. The other countries were still fighting, but it was just a small skirmish. Of course, this was the other countries. The Great Qin Celestial Kingdom was very stable. Even with nearly 200 star saints, no one dared to make a move. The Celestial Kingdom on Earth. Nan Yuyang and Yu Qinyan were together, drinking gloomily. Their expressions were ugly. After finishing the 5th jar, Nan Yuyang wiped his mouth and sighed. You should go. Go where? 1,000-year feather sighed. Given the current situation, no one can leave. Take your golden feather race and go wherever you want. The West Sea, the East Sea, even planet Tianwang and planet Dihuang. Nan Yuyang sat up and said in a muffled voice. Yu Qinyan didn't say anything. Nan Yuyang's eyes were red and his expression turned ferocious. I didn't want to be the great emperor, but they forced me to be. I listened to them, but what happened? The big thing just started and they're already taking resources and dividing power. What's the use of my words? Yu Qinyan still didn't say anything. I wanted to lead the army myself, but what happened? A group of close gods came to warn me. How frustrating. Nan Yuyang fiercely smashed the wine jar on the ground and said fiercely, the starry sky is targeting me and Earth. Jiang Chongkong is imprisoned and Jiang Chongyue is dead. Are they going to kill every genius from Earth? Unless you can become a close god. Yu Qinyan finally spoke. He took out a golden potion. Try it. You haven't used it yet. Nan Yuyang was startled. He waved his hand. Use it. If you can become a close god, you can join them. Are we going to make rules like them? Treat the universe like a game? 1,000-year feather looked at the potion and sighed. I want it too, but it's too difficult. Moreover, I've just broken through, so it's useless. Nan Yuyang stopped talking and took out 2 more bottles of medicine. Here you go. Anyway, his life is not in danger now. What are you worried about? 1,000-year feather didn't accept the potion and explained, the other great emperors are the most frustrated. They can't kill you even if they wanted to. Nan Yuyang was startled and then grinned. That seems to be the case. What am I worried about? The one who should be anxious should not be me, the weakest. It should be those powerful countries that wanted to kill him, but didn't dare to. After thinking this through, Nan Yuyang smiled and said, Great Qin's emperor is amazing. He directly killed one. He also grasped the timing well. He also has the support of the Yellow Springs god. No one expected such a ruthless character to appear in the Immortal Desolate. Yu Qinyan thought for a while and said, a killer. The West Baron was completely wiped out. It's good to be clean, like Chongkong. Nan Yuyang murmured and got up to leave. I'm going to study the path of God. You can have the medicine. 1,000-year feather sighed and took the medicine. The great emperors of the various countries have been searching for the path of God, but they naturally didn't find anything. Hua Tianrui had said that in less than 500 years, she would help him understand the path of God. How could he want to get close to the God realm? This closed-door cultivation took an entire year. Jiang Chongkong perfected the extreme yin and extreme yang realms. The power of the 3 lights had been raised to the extreme. Jiang Chongkong, Star Saint peak top grade martial arts. Indestructible golden body, perfected 857 500 000 slash 857 500 000 Tai Chi Sutra. Perfected. 1 slash 857 500 000 Sun Sutra. Perfected. 857 500 000 slash 857 500 000 Moon Sutra. Perfected. 857 500 000 slash 857 500 000 Death Heavenly Blade. Perfected. 1 slash 857 500 000 Sky Imperial Scripture. Perfected. 1 slash 857 500 000 Cloud Dawa Scripture. Perfected. 1 slash 857 500 000 Top Great Array Art Battle Body Star Formation. Incomplete. Perfected. 1 slash 857 500 000 Essence Energy and Spirit. 388351588. After putting away the treasures, Jiang Changkong concealed his aura. He was at the limit of a star saint. The arches come out. The nether dragon appeared again, and the gate of the palace opened slowly. One by one, the experts entered the imperial palace. Congratulations to the Arch for improving, the star saints said respectfully. After the battle with the West Baron, the Arch, I have learned a lot and have understood the path of God. Jiang Changkong looked around, thousands of Tao patterns appearing in his eyes. I found that fighting is good for improvement. What does the Arch mean? The Star Saints asked carefully. I asked you to ask for compensation from the two countries. Did they give it? Jiang Changkong asked again. No. The Nether Dragon and the Evil Ghost shook their heads at the same time. Send troops to the West Ocean. The East Ocean was robbed by Jiang Changwei. Let Huang Qinlin go for now, Jiang Changkong ordered. The West Ocean was richer now, so they were the best choice. As for Huang Qinlin, he would deal with him next time. He would deal with the three enemies of the Celestial Nation one by one. Hopefully, Nan Yang, that soft-hearted guy, will be able to hold on for a while. Yes, the Star Saints answered and went out to pass on the order. The Arch has ordered to send troops to the West Ocean. Send troops to the West Ocean. Send troops to the West Ocean. The evil spirits shouted, and the corpse cultivators were excited. Their roars echoed throughout the entire Imperial planet. A skull appeared next to Jiang Changkong. The Arch, Ghost Mother, is bewitching the near god here. I will go with her this time. Thank you. Jiang Changkong nodded and stepped into the spatial passage. This time, he flew at full speed without riding the Nether Dragon. He had to speed up. His 3 Tao bodies were now complete. Even if they couldn't compare to the 4 Tao bodies he had before, they had improved greatly. A day later, Jiang Changkong stepped into the West Ocean Star. 3 beams of light swept out and destroyed everything. Then, he went to the next star. After increasing his strength, Jiang Changkong didn't stay at all. He left the corpses and souls to the Yellow Springs lineage. Jiang Changkong memorized the map and found the shortest route. He would reach the West Ocean Imperial planet in 5 days. The West Ocean was rich in water resources, suitable for Earth's inhabitants. After thinking about it, he didn't plan to leave Earth. There was still the East Ocean, South Ocean, and North Ocean. Even if he left them, he couldn't let them come over. If they really did, they might be exposed. Jiang Changkong destroyed another star and went to the next one. Another 3 days passed, and Jiang Changkong landed on the West Ocean Imperial planet. Rumble. Without hesitation, Jiang Changkong pressed down with his palm, landing directly on the West Ocean Imperial City. The buildings collapsed, and a void star array cracked. The palm covered the entire Imperial planet, destroying the unactivated star array. Buzz! An aura that was above all things swept out and destroyed the sky-covering palm. Who dares to be so insolent? An angry roar sounded. A near god stood proudly in the void with a cold expression. In the next moment, eerie ghost Chi covered the sky. The ghost lord silently appeared in the sky. The Arch of the Great Qin Celestial Kingdom has arrived. Why aren't you kneeling and submitting? The near god, the many living beings below, what the F***CK was going on? Was the Great Qin attacking? Why was there no movement at all? Chapter 456. The great emperor of the West Sea was the most confused of all. She was in seclusion in her secret chamber when a palm fell from the sky, shattering the divine array. She had almost been injured, and just as she was about to investigate, someone came to report that Great Sheen had attacked. It was like a joke. Didn't the gods say that that person in Great Sheen had settled down? Didn't they say that they wouldn't fight until they became demigods? In the end, the other party had come all the way to their lair. You almost killed me. The Grand Emperor of West Ocean walked out of the secret chamber with a gloomy expression. She was panicking. What if she, a person who was close to a god, could not withstand it? Would she be the second of the three great combat bodies to fall? While she was lost in her thoughts, she heard the voice of a deity. Ghost Lord, are you going to go back on your word? The near deity's face turned ashen as he said angrily, Aren't you afraid of being surrounded and killed by the near deities? The ghost monarch coldly laughed. Everything in the Grand Sheen Immortal Empire is decided by His Majesty. I'm only His Majesty's guard. If you have any questions, you can go down and ask. The god was speechless. Is there something wrong with your brain? The West Sea Great Emperor was stunned. In the Grand Sheen Immortal Empire, everything was decided by the West Sea Great Emperor? Wasn't the difference in treatment a little too big? Why is it that my celestial kingdom is ruled by the gods? Even those who have true gods backing them dare to talk back to me. Didn't Great Sheen only have great emperors in Yellow Springs? You're just a god. Why did you listen to him? The other creatures couldn't understand either. What exactly was going on? The celestial being shouted angrily. Ghost Lord, you're talking nonsense. Would you listen to that kid? It must be your Yellow Springs bloodline that wants to break the agreement. Ghost Lord, you talk too much. I want to consider if you should switch with Ghost Mother. Jiang Changkong had his hands behind his back as he hovered in the air above the imperial city. Great Emperor, Ghost Lord will definitely not let him interfere. With that, the ghostly aura enveloped the deity and forcefully pulled him out of the imperial star. West Sea Great Emperor, see you in the next life. Jiang Changkong's eyes were filled with coldness. His palm descended, suppressing the entire imperial star. Great Sheen's Emperor, you're going too far. With death looming over them, the West Sea Great Emperor and the many star sages released their starlight at the same time. The patterns of the great Tao manifested, and the closed divinity Great Array was activated. Rumble. Unfortunately, these god-close grand formations were like waste paper before Jiang Changkong. The formation was destroyed, the buildings collapsed, and the vitality of the star sages dissipated. The sky-blotting hand slammed toward the West Sea Grand Emperor. Blood rained down, and his body cracked. A tyrannical power exploded out of the West Sea Grand Emperor's body, tearing apart the massive hand. A sword ray shot up and slashed at Jiang Changkong. An aura that was above all living things, a move left behind by an existence at the peak of the starry sky, a power that was close to divine. Jiang Changkong's expression changed slightly. 3 rays of light converged and Tao patterns shone in front of him. With a loud bang, the 3 lights were torn apart. Jiang Changkong's figure was sent flying, and his dragon robe was torn apart. A bone-deep wound extended from his chest to his lower abdomen. Great Sheen's Emperor, you're going too far. The West Sea's Emperor was covered with blood as he flew up from the ground. I want to see how many tricks you have up your sleeves. Jiang Changkong's expression was cold as the power of the 3 lights surged out. Do you really want to die? The West Sea Grand Emperor shouted angrily. You've gone against their will. Even if I die, you won't live. Boom! Another wave of power tore through the power of the 3 lights and fell on Jiang Changkong's body. This time, it was still the sword ray, and it made the wound deeper. But the West Sea Grand Emperor didn't have it easy either. The power of the near divine couldn't completely protect him. Jiang Changkong's wound wriggled, and the remaining power of the near divine was quickly disappearing. Do you really have to kill me? The West Sea Grand Emperor was covered with blood, like a golden blood man. Jiang Changkong stepped in the void and looked at the West Sea Grand Emperor indifferently. Provoking the Great Sheen Celestial Kingdom, you must die. The West Sea Grand Emperor felt wronged. He gritted his teeth and said, "When did I provoke the great Qin celestial kingdom? You're completely slandering me. I've been in seclusion for the past year, and I specifically ordered people not to provoke you." In such a situation, the West Sea Grand Emperor couldn't understand how he had offended him. Jiang Chankong's expression was indifferent. "When we destroyed the Western wilderness, you sent troops to support us, causing the Great Qin Empire to suffer heavy casualties. I gave you a chance to compensate, but you didn't cherish it." The power of the three lights condensed and turned into palm energy again. Danger came again, and the West Sea Grand Emperor hurriedly shouted, I'll compensate now. How long has it been? You still remember it? Didn't you agree to forget about it?" Boom! The palm energy landed again, and the West Sea Grand Emperor was smashed into the ground again. The sword ray appeared again, and this time, it almost cut Jiang Chankong in half. I already said, I'm willing to compensate. The West Sea Grand Emperor's aggrieved voice sounded, and there was a hint of crying. Jiang Chankong's movements paused slightly. Why was she crying? The Grand Emperor of a kingdom. You're too embarrassing. Should I kill her by force now? Or should I compensate her? Jiang Chankong looked at the pitiful West Sea Grand Emperor and took out a device. Compensate according to the list in here, and also half of the West Sea Celestial Kingdom's planet. Sign the contract. No problem, no problem, the West Sea Grand Emperor hurriedly said. After signing the contract, Jiang Chankong heaved a sigh of relief and called out, Ghost Lord, it's time to go. Send the compensation to the Great Qin Imperial Planet in 10 days. The man and the skeleton left, and the near god came back in a sorry state. Looking at the pitiful West Sea Grand Emperor sitting in the ruins, his face sank. Bzzz. The void tore apart, and figures appeared one after another. Their powerful auras swept across the West Sea Imperial Planet. What happened? The West Sea Grand Emperor was silent. She was very hurt and needed some time to calm down. The Great Qin Empire is attacking, the near god said coldly. The Yellow Springs bloodline is a scum. They broke the agreement. To the Great Qin Empire. The near god looked at the West Sea Grand Emperor. Let's go. I will seek justice for you. The near god looked at the West Sea Grand Emperor. The West Sea Grand Emperor shook her head repeatedly. I'm not going. I want to prepare the compensation. The near god, this useless mud. Forget it. I won't care about her anymore. The Ghost Lord quickly brought Jiang Chankong back to the Imperial Palace and helped him clean up the remaining near god Great Tao. Grand Emperor, you were too impulsive this time, the Ghost Lord said in a low voice. The goal is achieved. There's no need to be impulsive. Jiang Chankong waved his hand. Have you prepared an excuse? Don't worry, Grand Emperor. The Ghost Lord smiled. Jiang Chankong sat on the dragon throne and used his cultivation technique to recover from his injuries. This time, his injuries were quite serious. He only used his 3 Tao bodies, but he was still far from becoming a near god. In the end, he didn't dare to gamble how many near god attacks the West Sea Grand Emperor still had. He could only change it to compensation. As long as he could get the resources, if the West Sea Grand Emperor dared to refuse, he wouldn't mind doing it again. Now the initiative was in his hands. Seeing that he had hope of becoming a near god, would these near gods be able to endure it? Jiang Chankong sneered in his heart. When he became a near god, he would try to go above the stars. While he was deep in thought, the void tore apart, and waves of powerful pressure descended on the Great Qin Imperial Star. One by one, people were close to gods descended. They had to punish this unruly Great Qin Celestial Kingdom. Otherwise, their plan to become immortal would be over. Everyone, the Grand Emperor is healing in the Imperial Palace. Without the Grand Emperor's permission, no one can enter. The 9 near gods of Yellow Springs appeared outside the Imperial Palace at the same time, blocking the near gods. Chapter 457. On Great Qin's Imperial Planet, the 20 near gods stopped at the same time. 9, are you joking? The 20 near gods' faces darkened. They wanted to see the Great Emperor, but they needed his permission? Did the Yellow Springs near gods get kicked in the head by a donkey? You could try and see if I'm joking, Mother Harpy said coldly. Hum. The air rippled again, and the mermaid king arrived. She waved her scepter, and a gentle power spread out. Everyone, please calm down. Let's find out what's going on first. The mermaid king was confused. They hadn't discussed this before, but they had no choice now. They could only calm down and find out what was going on. Great Sheen attacked the West Ocean. If we didn't hold back, the West Ocean Great Emperor would be dead, the near god said coldly. The mermaid king's face darkened. Old friend, this is too much. Please ask the Great Emperor to come out and give us an explanation. Mother Harpy's eyes flashed. Wait, I'll ask the Great Emperor. The near gods? Are you trying to show us who's boss? You only have 9 near gods. Although they're all very powerful, we also have an ancient near god. What gives you the right to be so arrogant? Soon, a voice came from the imperial palace. The Great Emperor has ordered for the near gods to enter the palace. The near gods' faces turned green. Did they really think they were the Great Emperor? Yellow Springs, are you trying to humiliate us on purpose? The mermaid king's delicate face twitched. She felt that she had sent an uncontrollable guy. This was like a slap to the faces of many near gods. It was a slap to the face. She wanted him to come out and explain, but they needed an audience. Taking a deep breath, the near gods endured it. For the sake of becoming immortals, they'll kill you after that. The near gods' hearts were filled with killing intent. Inside the imperial palace, Jiang Changkong, who was wearing a green face and fang mask, looked down at them. Dear near gods, why have you come to my great sheen? Jiang Changkong asked indifferently. The mermaid king raised her eyebrows and spoke first. I hope the Great Emperor can give us an explanation. Why did you attack the West Ocean? She was afraid that if Jiang Changkong kept provoking them, the near gods would kill him on the spot. Just for this? Jiang Changkong asked indifferently. The near gods grew angrier, and one of them could not hold it in any longer. Aunt, what are you putting on airs for? Hurry up and explain, or I'll take your head. Jiang Changkong's gaze turned cold. Ghost Mother, behead her. Emperor, yes. Ghost Mother laughed coldly, and the great Tao of nearing gods pressed down on the god who had spoken. Mother Harpy sneered in gods. The king of the mermaids hurriedly stepped in between the two parties. We're just here to ask for an explanation. After all, it's not time to decide the outcome yet. The deity who spoke just now shut his mouth. He truly felt the killing intent. Mother Ghost Mother really dared to kill him. Emperor was in gods, was as God. Was time, the was God was. Gods were Jiang God were God said. God. Emperor God how? Time. Gods I are God said. Gods God. Now is not the time to fall out. No matter what Jiang Changkong did, she would find a way to deal with it. The other near gods didn't say anything and waited for Jiang Changkong to explain. First, I destroyed the West Baron and fought with the West Baron Emperor. I learned a lot and touched the way of the gods. Second, when we destroyed the West Baron, the West Ocean sent reinforcements and caused great losses. We gave them a chance to compensate, but they didn't take it. Jiang Changkong said slowly, Are you satisfied with these 2 reasons? Mermaid King, you said that you touched the way of the gods. One of the near gods asked. He had forgotten about the second reason. They didn't care about the feud between the 2 countries. They only cared about whether Jiang Changkong had touched the way of the gods. The power of the 3 lights surged out, and 3 powerful Taos spread out. The near gods couldn't feel it, but they could sense his strength. The limit of the Star Saint. The near gods exclaimed, Let's see how my punches. Jiang Changkong punched out. The 3 great Taos accompanied him and supported him with the Taos. A near god pointed out with a finger. The next moment, his expression changed. The great Taos of the near gods rose and blocked it. Your strength is only slightly lower than the early near gods. The near god was not surprised, but happy. The other near gods looked at him with fiery eyes. The mermaid king was expressionless. This guy could fight near gods a long time ago. He already had this much combat power. 3 great war bodies, building a car behind closed doors. Progress is too slow. Zhang Changkong said calmly. I only fought twice and learned a lot. After digesting what I learned this time, I should be able to improve a little more. Then we congratulate the great emperor for reaching near God soon. The near God smiled. Now they understood why the harpy mother and the others were so protective of him. It turned out that he was about to reach near gods. This increased his chances of becoming an immortal. If it were them, they would also protect him. However, please don't do this in the future. The others haven't grown up and touched the way of the gods, the near God said. Everyone, don't worry. I'm not afraid of them growing up. I just want to become immortals as soon as possible. Isn't that what you all want? Zhang Changkong said calmly, as if he really didn't want to destroy the West Sea. This time, I didn't kill them, did I? You didn't kill them? If it weren't for the tricks left behind by the near gods, the West Sea Emperor's body would have been cold. However, thinking that this person might be a near god, they didn't care about this. If that's the case, we'll go back. Goodbye. After getting a satisfactory answer, the near gods stood up and left. The Mermaid King glanced at Zhang Changkong and didn't say anything else. He turned around and left. Zhang Changkong sat on the dragon throne and continued to heal his injuries. After all the near gods left, the harpy mother stood up with an awkward expression. Great Emperor, we might have fought the wrong person. Wrong person? Zhang Changkong frowned. The West Sea Emperor has actually been roped in by the Mermaid King. He just didn't have time to inform us, the harpy mother said awkwardly. Zhang Changkong, then blame the Mermaid King, not me. The West Sea and the Star Demon worked together to bully the celestial kingdom of Earth. Let's teach them a lesson, Zhang Changkong said lightly. Yes, the harpy mother replied. We won't disturb your rest. We'll take our leave now. Summon Jiang Zhongming. Zhang Changkong's voice sounded. Soon, Jiang Zhongming arrived. He had improved a lot and gained a lot of benefits during this time. Great Emperor, what can I do for you? Jiang Zhongming asked with a smile. Brother Ming, contact the East Sea and ask them to compensate us. The list is the same as the resources we got from the West Baron. Otherwise, I'll kill them. Also, ask the other countries in the South Sea to hand over half of the resources on the list. Jiang Changkong pondered. He had to reach the near God level as soon as possible. No problem. What about the celestial kingdom of Earth? Jiang Zhongming asked. The celestial kingdom of Earth might not be able to get half of the resources, let alone half. Half of the same. Jiang Changkong frowned. Don't make it special. People can see that I'm going to collect resources and reach the near God level. Okay. Jiang Zhongming accepted the order and left. Wait, don't increase the price this time. These resources are enough to hurt them. Jiang Changkong reminded again. He didn't expect them to give him anything when he increased the price last time. He just wanted to give them an excuse. They couldn't do it this time. They had to get the resources this time. Even if they raised the price, they might not be able to afford it. Chapter 458. The West Sea Emperor had sent the compensation over. After checking the compensation, the Star Saint who had sent the resources left immediately. Jiang Zhongming had wanted to entertain them and show them his hospitality, but they did not give him the chance. News of Jiang Changkong attacking the West Sea and demanding compensation had already spread. The emperors of the various countries were all panicking, especially Huang Qianlin. Great Qin had demanded compensation from him, and he had smashed the apparatus. He was now worried that that person from Great Qin would attack. As for the near-God realm expert, he had given up hope. The near-God realm expert had promised that Great Qin would stay put, but what happened in the end? In the end, that person had attacked the West Sea and almost destroyed the West Sea Emperor. Huang Qianlin's expression was gloomy. Within the palace, a near-God realm expert appeared. Emperor, that person from Great Qin has reached the limits of the Star Saint realm and touched upon the near-God realm. The celestial being said with a serious look on his face. Imperial teacher, is this true? Huang Qianlin was shocked. That person was already ahead of them in the near-God realm. If that person became a near-God first, how could they compare to him? If they were one step ahead, they would always be ahead. When that time came, they could only be trampled on. The near-God realm expert fell silent for a moment before saying, We've asked, and the three great battle bodies cannot be built behind closed doors. Interacting with each other is beneficial for comprehending the near God realm. Imperial teacher, what do you mean? Huang Qianlin's expression was calm. However, his heart was filled with coldness. The imperial teacher was the emperor's teacher. The near-god emperor's teachers were in charge of the god nation's matters, and they were like playthings. We'll set up a platform for friendly sparring, the near-god realm experts said gently. Friendly sparring was fine as long as no killing was involved. Huang Qianlin became even more panicked. What about Great Qin's emperor? If that person came to spar, who could stand up to him? He could probably beat him up by himself. Compared to Jiang Changyue, Great Qin's emperor was evidently more terrifying. Jiang Changyue's three great battle bodies were only slightly stronger than his. Only by using his power and activating the four great Dao bodies could she beat him up. Jiang Zhangyue's three great combat bodies were only slightly stronger than him. Only by borrowing his strength and activating his four great Dao bodies could he beat him. However, that person could destroy a country with just three great battle bodies. No, it would be more accurate to say that there were two countries. Without a deity, the West Sea would definitely be destroyed. Huang Qianlin panicked, but he never thought that Jiang Changyue had only been a late-stage Star Saint back then. Now, Great Qin's emperor was at the peak of the Star Saint realm and had completed the Three Lights art. He will go into seclusion to comprehend the Tao of God. After the divine emperor's tutor finished speaking, he merged into the void and left. Huang Qianlin couldn't help but chuckle. Closed-door seclusion, my ass. What if he came out of seclusion? Wasn't that the same thing the last time? What did they say? The other party just wanted to go into seclusion and couldn't be bothered with them. At the thought of this, Huang Qianlin contacted the West Sea Great Emperor. The West Ocean Grand Emperor had already wiped away his tears and suppressed his grievances. What else could she say after being hammered by her allies? She could only endure it. The Merfolk King could only blame himself for not notifying the Great Qin Emperor earlier. They had been beaten up for nothing, lost resources, and lost a lot of territory. After adjusting his state of mind, the West Sea Emperor said expressionlessly, East Sea Emperor, what business do you have with me? I heard that you were almost killed. Huang Qianlin asked in a serious tone. The West Sea Emperor felt like hammering a machine. She had just adjusted her state of mind, but it instantly crumbled. Feeling wronged, she gritted her teeth and said, So what? He was just one step ahead of me. Don't go out of your way. Perhaps Great Qin's Emperor will come looking for you tomorrow. West Sea Emperor, don't misunderstand. I'm just here to ask about the situation, Huang Qianlin hurriedly said. He wasn't here to ridicule his allies. What do you want to ask? The West Sea Emperor asked coldly. Huang Qianlin blurted out, Great Qin's Emperor has really come into contact with the God Realm? Why did he dare to kill them? Did he just let those God Realm people go? He didn't punish them? The West Sea Emperor fell silent and looked at Huang Qianlin. He suddenly felt like they were in the same boat. She and Huang Qianlin were pawns and puppets. Great Qin's Emperor was completely different from them. Great Qin's Emperor is a true emperor. Even God Realm people have to listen to him. The West Sea Emperor said in a low voice. Huang Qianlin was stunned. You're not joking? Do you think I'm in the mood to joke? How did he do it? The moment this question came out, both great monarchs fell silent. How did he do it? If they knew how, they wouldn't just be puppets. Wait, Great Qin contacted us, Huang Qianlin said. Huang Qianlin said. After saying that, he took out a device and connected the call right in front of the West Sea Grand Emperor. Little Huang, we meet again. Jiang Zhongming grinned. Huang Qianlin took in a deep breath and said, What business does Great Qin have with us? Here's a list. Compensate me accordingly. If you don't, Great Qin's Emperor will drink tea with you and talk about ideals. Jiang Zhongming sent over a list. Huang Qianlin's expression was dark. Drink tea and talk about ideals? This was clearly telling him to hand over the resources, or else he would beat him up. We need to discuss this with the ministers. Once we're done, we'll notify Great Qin, Huang Qianlin said. You have 3 hours to think about it. Jiang Zhongming smiled and hung up. Huang Qianlin looked at the West Sea Emperor and asked, What do you think? I've already compensated and given up my territory, the West Sea Emperor said sullenly. What can I think? Of course I'll compensate everything. Many thanks. Huang Qianlin thanked him and hung up the call. Looking at the West Sea Emperor's attitude, it was obvious that he had to compensate. Would Great Qin really dare to attack? No matter how thick Huang Qianlin's skin was, he didn't want to be trampled on in the holy city. However, these resources were simply too vicious. He had to get those factions that were close to the gods to pay. After the ruckus caused by Jiang Changyue, the national treasury had been emptied. Those factions that were close to the gods all had their own resources. After all, they were the emperor's teachers' factions. He had to find the near gods, and he trusted that they did not want Great Qin to attack them. Jiang Zhongming quickly received news that Huang Qianlin had agreed to compensate them within 10 days. The other kingdoms were the same, and Jiang Zhongming had them send over half of their resources within 10 days. This news caused all of the other kingdoms to be furious, especially the other kingdoms. They hadn't offended Great Qin, so why did they have to hand over their resources? If Great Qin had an excuse, what right did Great Qin have to attack them? A group of emperors contacted Huang Qianlin and prepared to attack Great Qin. 7 emperors, what business do you have with us? Huang Qianlin sat on his throne and said in a low voice, East Sea Emperor, I'm sure you already know about the compensation. Great Qin's emperor has gone too far. We should put aside our prejudices and deal with Great Qin's emperor first, the East Sea Emperor said seriously. If they lost resources like this, they would lose too much face. No matter how powerful Great Qin's emperor was, he couldn't deal with all 8 of them at once, right? Why don't you go find the West Sea Emperor? Huang Qianlin asked calmly. That West Sea bitch has already been scared out of her wits. There's no point in finding her, the emperor said disdainfully. Huang Qianlin deeply breathed in and said in a low voice, Apologies, we are in a rush to hand over the resources, so we won't be able to chat with emperors. The 7 emperors? You're scared? You're really going to give it to us? The 7 great emperors couldn't figure it out. The usually arrogant East Sea Great Emperor used to pick a fight with whoever he wanted. Ever since Jiang Zhongyue, the East Sea Great Emperor had become more and more timid. Had he been scared out of his wits by Jiang Changyue? Chapter 459. The East and West Seas have been destroyed, the North Sea Emperor said coldly. The North Sea Emperor said coldly, I won't hand over the resources. Would he dare kill me? That's right. No matter how daring he is, he won't dare to kill us now. The other great emperors agreed. The one from the West Wilderness was just an accident. Didn't they see that the West Sea Emperor was still alive and well? No matter how powerful the one from the Great Qin was, they still had to give face to a god. Since he wouldn't die, what was there to worry about? Nan Yuyang, what do you say? The 6 great emperors looked at Nan Yuyang. The weakest of the celestial kingdoms should be easy to bully. I can't afford it. Nan Yuyang was miserable. The others didn't want to give, but he couldn't. The national treasury was empty. He didn't even have enough resources for his own cultivation. Everyone, I have a plan, the North Sea Emperor said. Please speak, North Sea Emperor, everyone said. Why don't we set up a trap on Earth and invite the one from the Great Qin? We can kill him together. The North Sea Emperor said coldly. Even if we can't kill him, we have to imprison him. That's a good idea. The Great Emperor said it's better to fight more, so we'll fight him, the other great emperors said. Nan Yuyang was a bit depressed. Why on earth? Normally, the great emperors didn't dare to take the risk of going to another nation's imperial planet. But now, it was different with a group of great emperors. They could destroy the imperial planet. It's decided. We don't have to worry about Emperor Nan Yuyang's character, the North Sea Emperor said seriously. It's decided. Let's continue to discuss what to do. The great emperors didn't give him a chance to refuse. The celestial kingdoms of Earth were the weakest. If they destroyed it, then so be it. They wouldn't be losing anything anyway. Nan Yuyang's expression was gloomy as he quietly listened to them. You bunch of dogs, just you wait for me. Since they were going to be destroyed, they might as well contact the Great Qin and hand over resources. He couldn't afford it, but someone else could. After they finished talking, Nan Yuyang walked out and invited the great powers of the celestial kingdoms of Earth. Great Emperor, what did you summon us for? A peak star saint asked without any respect. We Budokai are very busy. Great Emperor, please speak directly if you have something to say, Galaxy Budokai said impatiently. Right now, Nan Yuyong was no different from Puppet. They didn't give him any face. Nan Yuyong didn't get angry. He laughed and said, "This is a letter from the Great Qin Immortal Empire. They want us to hand over the resources according to the list, or they will attack us. It's up to the Great Emperor to decide. We can't make the decision." Budokai, the Immortal Palace, and all the major forces had kicked the ball to him. The treasury is empty. There are no resources left. Nan Yuyong sighed. We don't have any either. Many disciples are waiting for resources to cultivate. Yeah, we don't even have enough resources. The major forces began to complain about how poor they were. He was just short of saying that he hadn't seen top-notch resources in a long time. Nan Yuyong's expression was still calm. We know that you are all poor and that your days are hard, so we are just informing you. Thank you for your understanding, Your Majesty, the various forces said happily. Then, Your Majesty, if there's nothing else, we'll go back first. Someone wanted to leave. Well, before we leave, I have one more thing to say. That is, wherever the Great Qin passes, not an inch of land will grow, and all life will be cut off. Nan Yuyong said calmly, I won't die. So, you should hurry up and run. The major forces, it seemed that it was true. With the near god keeping them in check, the Great Qin certainly wouldn't dare to kill Nan Yuyong. But what about them? Behind them? The forces in the West Wilderness didn't have a near god behind them. The forces in the West Sea didn't have a near god behind them. Weren't they all killed by the Great Qin? The major forces suddenly had the urge to curse. A Great Qin that didn't follow the rules had appeared. As for Nan Yuyong, he sat on the dragon throne and looked at them with a smile. I can't do anything to you, so you shouldn't have it easy. So, he added, the Great Qin has figured out the route to Earth. You should go to another country to take refuge. Silence. Dead silence. After a long time, a peak star saint panted and said, Your Majesty, which country is the safest now? Nan Yuyong's eyes flashed with a cold light, but he didn't show it. He said calmly, The Great Qin is the safest. The West Sea, which has just fought, is temporarily safe. The other countries may go to war with the Great Qin. Can we delay for a while and watch the tigers fight? The peak star saint asked tentatively. We can wait for them to fight, but they have set the location here, the second Earth. The major forces fell silent again. By setting the battle here, did they want to destroy their imperial stars? Nan Yuyong stood up and said lightly, Okay, I've informed you. I'm going back to rest. You can run if you want. After saying that, he left. Your Majesty, I still have some resources here. I'm willing to share the country's worries. A peak star saint said hurriedly. Nan Yuyong didn't stop walking and said indifferently, You can keep them while you're still alive. Your Majesty, we're all willing to share the country's worries. The major forces' faces turned green as they hurriedly shouted, Keep them for themselves? While they're still alive, would they dare to keep them under such circumstances? Nan Yuyong definitely wouldn't die, but they couldn't. As for running, where could they run to now? The Great Qin was the safest, but they wouldn't accept surrender. Anyone who surrendered would be killed. The other countries weren't safe either. Your Majesty, we can hand over the resources first and watch them fight. Let's see which side loses. The star saint who had spoken first said, That's right. We still have the resources if we pool them together. The other forces said hurriedly. Nan Yuyong stopped and looked straight at the peak star saint. He smiled, as expected of the ruler of the celestial palace. You have a good eye for people. I'll listen to you. He had been thinking of defecting to the enemy and asking which country was the safest. He really regretted not killing this guy. The celestial kingdom on Earth started to gather resources. Jiang Changkong was also happy. The southern wasteland emperor contacted him and said politely, Your Majesty, I've heard a lot about you. I'm very impressed. Your Majesty, don't be so polite. Just say what you want, Jiang Changkong said lightly. It's like this. The North Sea Emperor is contacting others to set up a trap on Earth to attack you. The Southern Wasteland Emperor sold out his teammate and added, "I'm not ashamed of their despicable methods, so I've come to inform your majesty." "Thank you, your majesty. I'll try not to beat you up when the time comes," Jiang Chongkong said lightly. The Southern Wasteland Emperor's mouth twitched, but he wasn't angry. "As for the resources, I'll secretly arrange for someone to send them over." "Don't worry, your majesty." "Okay, I'll inform the other countries later and give them time to prepare. When I come out, I hope they'll be ready." Jiang Chongkong hung up after saying this. This Southern Wasteland Emperor was fine. He'd give him a way out in the future. As for their preparations, Jiang Chongkong didn't really care. Giving them time to prepare was also giving him time to improve. The West Sea, the East Sea, and the Southern Wasteland had already given him more than 1 billion. Including the previous ones, it was 5 billion. "Sorry, your majesty was too close." Chapter 460. Jiang Chongkong soon got in touch with Nan Yuyang. He was willing to hand over the normal resources and promised to deliver them within 10 days. More than 3 billion. Jiang Chongkong suddenly wanted to laugh out loud. Let them continue to fight and slowly prepare. He would give them time to become a near god. He told Jiang Zhongming to inform the other countries to prepare. When he came out of seclusion, he would beat them up. By the time all the resources were taken care of, it was already 3 months later. Jiang Chongkong called for Ghost Mother. "Ghost Mother, I'm going to become a near god this time. I plan to go to the stars and take a look. Where did that person open the gate of immortality?" "Your Majesty, did you really comprehend the near god Tao?" Ghost Mother was confused. Wasn't he just fooling them? "I did." "Answer my question." "Ghost Mother," Jiang Chongkong said. "Your Majesty, that person opened the gate of immortality from the immortal slaying platform. The platform has been sealed by Yellow Springs. When you become a near god, I will personally bring you there to take a look." Ghost Mother replied. Jiang Chongkong nodded. "Then I will go into seclusion in Yellow Springs. Don't let them know that I'm trying to break through to near god." Ghost Mother nodded and returned to Yellow Springs with Jiang Chongkong. As expected of a near god, with the help of the Stargate, it only took 2 to 3 days to return to Yellow Springs. Jiang Zhongming handed him the treasure, which was now no different from Jiang Chongkong's. Instead of seclusion in Yama Hall, Jiang Chongkong found a random place and began his breakthrough to near god. No one disturbed Jiang Chongkong's seclusion. The countries began to plan how to surround and attack Jiang Chongkong. These great emperors wanted to stop him from comprehending the near god realm, but the near god realm experts did not agree. They had waited for so long. Finally, a near god with 3 war physiques appeared. Why would they stop him? The near gods had no objections to the arrangement of the war physiques. Earth's near gods objected, but there was nothing they could do. As for the near gods, they had constructed a special dimension for the 3 war forms to battle and temper themselves. With the protection of a near god, there would be no deaths. The 3 great war physiques also joined in. They began to train and pursue the path to godhood. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, for years had passed. There was no movement from the Grand Qin Immortal Empire. The 3 great battle physiques had improved tremendously, and they had almost all reached the limits of star sages. The near gods were pleasantly surprised by this situation. In the secondary dimension, within the sea of flowers, the near gods were immersed in comprehending the immortal god stone steel. The worry on Ying Liuli's face deepened. Jiang Chongkong slowly walked to her side. "What's wrong?" Ying Liuli put away her worried expression and put on a smile. Jiang Chongkong's expression was indifferent. "I should die." Ying Liuli was stunned. "What nonsense are you talking about? Remember what I said, send my ashes back to earth." After Jiang Chongkong finished speaking, the Tao patterns on his body shone, and the energy within his body dissipated. "You!" Ying Liuli's expression changed, and she hurriedly stopped him. "Even the gods can't save those who seek death." Jiang Chongkong smiled slightly, and the soul power within his body suddenly exploded and dissipated. "Brother Kong," the nether dragon roared mournfully, and the soul power within his body dissipated. Jiang Chongkong, Ing Liuli watched helplessly as his vitality dissipated and he died just like that. What happened? Hua Tianrui and the other near gods gathered, and their expressions were cold. He committed suicide. Ing Liuli sighed and held Jiang Changkong's corpse in her arms. Now, I'm going to fulfill his last wish. Many near gods looked gloomy. Last wish? Why did he commit suicide? I don't know. He was seeking death. Ing Liuli shook her head and sighed. Open this place. I'm going to send it back to Earth. Let me see. The near god stepped forward with a serious expression. His soul power has completely disappeared, and he can't be saved. Why did he commit suicide? Hua Tianrui frowned. She couldn't figure it out. Jiang Changkong didn't want to stay in the first place. Maybe he sensed something from Jiang Changyue's death. A near god said in a low voice. Jiang Changyue died a long time ago. If he wanted to sense something, he would have already sensed it, the near god said coldly. Enough. It's just Jiang Changkong. So what if he's dead? Now the 3 combat bodies are the most important. Some of them have already touched the near god realm. A near god didn't care about Jiang Changkong's death. Since he was dead, he could focus all his energy on the 3 combat bodies. I'll send him back myself, Hua Tianrui said. What? Are you worried that he can come back to life after leaving this place? Ing Liuli said coldly. Hua Tianrui, don't go too far. Do you really think we don't have a temper? Forget it. Let him go. His soul will return to his homeland. We've treated him well, the near god said. Hua Tianrui's expression changed several times. In the end, she didn't insist. Go. Come back soon. Ing Liuli snorted and stepped out. After leaving the space, Ing Liuli left quickly. At the same time, a blue flame ignited in her hand, burning the bodies of Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon. The 3 Tao patterns intertwined, but they couldn't resist the power of the near god. They quickly burned. The void fluctuated and quieted down again. Ing Liuli snorted and pretended that nothing had happened. She sped up and left. Jiang Changkong's body has been burned. There are no changes, the near god said faintly. You may be thinking too much. I hope so. I don't think you would commit suicide. Hua Tianrui shook her head. She couldn't figure it out. They didn't want to kill Jiang Changkong. Why did he commit suicide? There was no reason at all. Could it be that he really sensed Jiang Changyue's death? Did Ing Liuli tell him? Was he heartbroken? She couldn't figure it out. She could only focus on the matter in front of her. The North Sea Emperor was the first to touch the near god realm. On the other side, Ing Liuli looked at the 2 burning bodies in a daze. It was fake. These 2 corpses were refined from materials. With the Tao patterns protecting his body, he didn't notice or see it. In particular, this guy had 3 near gods' Tao patterns, but they had been taken back by the near god. Was this guy a fake from the beginning? Ing Liuli looked at the burning body. She increased her strength and burned it completely. Scattering his ashes on earth and returning his soul to his homeland were all nonsense. He obviously didn't want the near god to know that he was fake and search for his real body. What if the Jiang Changyue who died was also fake? Ing Liuli suddenly thought of this problem. Abyss Dragon, Yellow Spring Bloodline, Great Qin, Celestial Kingdom. Could it be him? Ing Liuli thought of many things, but she wasn't sure. No one knew the name of the Great Qin, Celestial Kingdom's emperor. He always wore a mask, so even the near god couldn't see him. Should I find a chance to go to the Great Qin, Celestial Kingdom and have a look? Forget it. I'll go to Earth first. I'll play along with him and see what the final result is. Jiang Changkong knew a little about the situation outside through his secondary body, but he didn't pay attention to it. He was now at the most critical moment. Just in case, this transformation would affect the secondary body, so he could only let the secondary body die. The near God realm, the peak of the universe, above all things, infinitely close to the immortal realm. Jiang Changkong finally understood why the near God realm was so strong and was called the immortal realm that walked in the human world. Transformation. The transformation of life level. He was no longer immortal, but had entered the immortal realm. Whether it was the astral power, the great Tao, or the body, they were all sublimated. The aura that didn't belong to the human world had a trace of will, and power that surpassed all things. This was the aura of the immortal realm. Chapter 461. An immortal overlord would have a wisp of immortal god aura and transform into an immortal god. When their entire body transformed and entered a new realm, they would be a true immortal god. In ancient times, some people were called half-immortals and some half-gods. Between immortals and immortals depended on their own transformation. The more they transformed, the more powerful they would be. The limit of immortals could be said to be halfway through the transformation. Only after a perfect transformation would one be an immortal god. The 8 martial arts were upgraded to superior grade, which was close to the immortal level. Jiang Changkong also had a better understanding of the immortal level. There was a huge gap between immortals, but it wasn't a problem for him to escape. If there was a difference of 2 levels, it would be almost impossible to escape. With a difference of 3 levels, Mother of Evil used her power to kill an immortal god. Jiang Changkong didn't know what the limit of his 3 battle bodies was after reaching immortal god, but he was sure that he couldn't sweep the world clean. After the breakthrough, Jiang Changkong started to form a Tao body that was close to the immortal level. The Tao body was too powerful. He wouldn't give up. After some time, Jiang Changkong finished forming his Tao body and successfully went into seclusion. Jiang Changkong. Early stage immortal top-grade martial arts. Indestructible golden body. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Tai Chi Sutra. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Sun Sutra. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Tai In Sutra. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Death Heavenly Blade. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Sky Imperial Sutra. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Cloud Tao Sutra. Basic, 1/12. 5 million Top Grade Array Art. Battle Body Star Formation. Incomplete Basic, 1/12. 5 million Essence. Energy, Spirit. 1056015888 close to the immortal level. Boundless power surged in his body, and stars flowed in his body. Exploding stars with one punch was no longer his goal. Congratulations, Emperor, on reaching the immortal level. Mother of Evil appeared. She was a bit more respectful than usual. Jiang Changkong had only been a few years, and he had already reached the immortal level. There was definitely hope for him to open the immortal gate. How's the situation outside? Jiang Changkong restrained his excitement and asked indifferently. Everything is fine outside, but the North Sea Emperor and the others have reached the God realm. Some of them can't wait to fight the great Emperor. Ghost Mother's face was full of mockery. They had only just touched, but Jiang Changkong was already close to a god. How long did I spend in seclusion this time? Jiang Changkong asked. It's been 7 years. It's been 7 years. I was really too arrogant in the past. Jiang Changkong smiled faintly and stood up. Let's go to the immortal slaying platform. I want to see that immortal door. Great Sovereign, follow me. With Ghost Mother leading the way, they sealed the immortal slaying plateau in the dead zone. In the depths of the death zone, there was a golden platform with 9 floors. It was covered in ancient patterns, but it did not have any aura. It has lost all of its power. Jiang Changkong looked at the immortal slaying platform and lightly shook his head. Ghost Mother said, when the immortal gods left, they destroyed this place. All that's left is sturdiness. How do we get up? Jiang Changkong asked. Ghost Mother waved her hand, and a spatial rift appeared on the immortal slaying platform. That person fought his way up from the immortal slaying platform and opened a passage here. Ghost Mother sighed. It's a pity that the best of his generation can only die outside the immortal door. Jiang Changkong and Ghost Mother entered the spatial rift together. Above the starry sky, there was a black screen set up by Jiao Dragon King. He could not see the golden material. He wanted to fight his way up from another place. He wanted to break the black screen first. Jiang Changkong did not want to waste energy, so he took a shortcut. It would save him some energy. But even with the shortcut, it still took them a month to reach the starry sky. Jiang Changkong and Ghost Mother stood on the black screen, and above their heads was the golden material. It was boundless and covered the entire starry sky. There was no pressure at all. Jiang Changkong could not feel it, but the system's voice kept beating in his mind. Essence, spirit, and spirit. Unable to withdraw. Was it because there were so many that the system couldn't count them? The arch, as long as this place is not touched, there will be no danger, Ghost Mother explained. Jiang Changkong looked above his head. It was smooth and flat. What about the passage that person opened up? It looks like it hasn't been destroyed. The arch, this place will heal, Ghost Mother said in a deep voice. If you are weak, a new one will grow as soon as you break it. It will be the same as if you didn't break it at all. There's such a good thing? Jiang Changkong said excitedly. Ghost Mother, is there something wrong with your brain? If you can't break through this place in one go, you can't become an immortal. Do you know that? Jiang Changkong coughed. I mean, how can there be such a thing? I don't want to ascend anymore. I want to stay here until I max out my level. Of course, that was just a thought. No matter how much golden material there was a limit. Jiang Changkong took out the tying saber and slashed it lightly. There was not a single crack. The arch. Ghost Mother hurriedly stopped him. You should cultivate for a while more and come back when you're close to the perfected divinity realm. Also, you haven't merged with the most powerful combat body yet. It's too early. Let me try. Jiang Changkong activated his 4 combat bodies. The tying saber buzzed, and a powerful celestial might swept out. There seemed to be some power restraining the celestial might. Jiang Changkong knew it was a seal. The power of the 4 great Daos poured into it at the same time. Boom! It broke through the barrier, and an aura that transcended the mortal world surged out. Jiang Changkong's saber slashed at the golden substance. Crack! A piece of the golden material was cut off, but at the same time, a terrifying rebounding force sent Jiang Changkong flying. A crack appeared on his near-divinity Dao body. Jiang Changkong was surprised. The power just now was no less than my attack. The rebounding force was almost the same as his attack. Yes, this is the reason why we can't break it. It's not something that can be made up for with numbers. Ghost Mother sighed. Apart from immortals and gods, anyone who merged with the most powerful combat bodies would die. That person in the immortal desolate only managed to cultivate the 3 combat bodies to near-divinity realm, but he didn't succeed in merging them. Jiang Changkong looked at the golden material that was cut off. Essence, energy, and spirit. 100000, unable to extract. Let's go. We'll come back after I teach those brats a lesson. Jiang Changkong smiled. The injuries on his body had already recovered. Immortal ascension was right in front of him, but it would be a little painful. But Jiang Changkong wasn't afraid of pain. He could take his time. Immortal ascension wasn't urgent. Ghost Mother heaved a sigh of relief. She was afraid that Jiang Changkong wouldn't listen to her and would attack again. The two returned to the death zone and headed for the Great Qin Empire's Imperial Star. Welcome back, the Arch. Jiang Changwei had already led the Yellow Springs soldiers to welcome them. He had a connection with the treasures. Tell the countries that I'm coming out of seclusion. Let them choose the location. Those who didn't get resources before, kneel and welcome me. Jiang Changkong ordered coldly. Although he knew that the trap was on Earth, he had to pretend that he didn't know. Let's see how far these clowns can go. Look at how arrogant they are after touching the near-divinity realm. This time, he would extort all their near-divinity medicine. He might be injured when he cut the golden material. With the near-divinity medicine, he could save a lot of time and speed up the process of gathering essence, energy, and spirit. Yes, the group of people left respectfully. Jiang Changming stayed behind and wanted to say something. What's wrong? Jiang Changkong asked. Jiang Changming curled his lips. Your 3 senior sisters aren't having a good time. The North Sea Emperor is a bit arrogant. Chapter 462. In 7 years, these people were ready. Except for the West Sea and the East Sea, almost all of them participated. The 7 great emperors were now close to the God Realm. As for when they could truly step into the God Realm, it would depend on how monstrous their talent was. The 7 great emperors were informed and told to prepare in advance. This news naturally reached the ears of the God Realm. They wanted to know to what extent this great emperor of the Qin Empire had progressed after 7 years of seclusion. 10 days later, the 9 great emperors gathered on Second Earth, the celestial empire's emperor planet. The East Sea and the West Sea were here to watch the show and wouldn't participate in the battle. Nan Yang, before the Qin emperor comes, let's talk about us, the North Sea emperor said with a smile. Nan Yang's expression was indifferent. North Sea emperor, how do you know that the Qin emperor's surname is Qin? The Qin Empire had never said what the great emperor's name was. Just because of the Qin Empire, did you think he was surnamed Qin? In ancient times, there was a Qin Empire. Whatever I say, that's his surname. The North Sea emperor snorted, his expression proud. Hurry up and call those 3 women out. After this, they will follow me back to the North Sea. I will make them imperial concubines. Nan Yang's expression turned cold. North Sea emperor, you should know whose territory this is first. TCH, Jiang Chongkong is dead, and you're still protecting them? The North Sea emperor sneered. Who are you selling this favor to? Nan Yuyang didn't say anything. North Sea emperor, save your energy talking. You can use it to scream later. The West Sea emperor said coldly. Said the West Sea emperor coldly, looking at the North Sea emperor with disdain. Little girl from the West Ocean, how dare you come out after being scared? The North Sea emperor said disdainfully, I am a number 1 person below the God realm. The North Sea emperor was the first to comprehend the divine path, and his strength was a bit stronger than theirs. During this time, the North Sea emperor was extremely arrogant, especially with the support of the other great emperors. These great emperors seemed to have banded together. Those who didn't hand in resources huddled together and looked down on them. Those who handed in resources huddled together. He touched the God realm before us. He is now stronger than you. The West Sea emperor sneered. The North Sea emperor said arrogantly, after today, he won't be. Buzz. Suddenly, a powerful pressure swept over. The power of the 3 lights shook the entire imperial star. He's here. Huang Qianlin had a grave expression as he retreated together with the West Sea Great Emperor. Nan Yuyang's face was calm, but his heart was filled with bitterness. It was one thing to have Jiang Chongkong and Jiang Chongyue, but now there was another one. The martial monarchs at the scene were greatly pressured by the formidable suppression. The power of the 3 lights in his body automatically burst out to resist the pressure. Rumble. The entire imperial planet was shaking, and the divine proximity array creaked, showing signs of breaking. Could it be that he already has 1 foot in the divine realm? The hearts of the 9 great monarchs were in turmoil. The power of the 3 lights tore through the void like bolts of lightning. It was as if a deity had descended, and the imperial star was unable to withstand it. A figure stood with his hands behind his back, wearing a dragon robe and a mask with sharp fangs on his face. He wore a crown on his head, and boundless Tao might spread out from his body. Buildings collapsed, the void was torn, and the earth cracked, forming deep abysses. Ents, is this what you've set up? Jiang Chongkong arrived on Second Earth with a trace of sorrow in his eyes. Back then, he had also left here and started his journey through the stars. Now, he had returned with another identity, the Great Qin Immortal Empire's emperor. Ents, the expressions of the 9 great monarchs sank. They all had the 3 great battle physiques, but he called them ants? Outside the imperial star, many figures appeared and stared at the imperial star. The divine realm. He's not far from it, a divine proximity expert said excitedly. This great Qin emperor already had 1 foot in the divine realm. As expected, only battles can allow the 3 great battle physiques to improve quickly. After this emperor should be able to enter the divine realm. Hua Tianrui and the others said with satisfaction. A near god had confirmed that the true journey to immortal ascension was about to begin. On the imperial star, the 9 great monarchs were furious. However, Huang Qianlin and the West Sea Great Emperor had no intention of attacking and quickly left. Rumble. The imperial star shook. This time, it was recovering from the injuries caused by Jiang Chongkong. Many divine proximity formations were activated, stabilizing the imperial star and erupting with extreme power. The North Sea Great Emperor had already shut his mouth, and the power in his body was madly pouring into the formation. Facing Jiang Changkong, he didn't dare to be arrogant anymore. His expression was extremely solemn. Kill. With the support of the divine proximity formations, the strength of the 7 great emperors skyrocketed. Without hesitation, the 7 of them attacked at the same time. The power of the 3 lights shone through the imperial star and rushed into the starry sky. Jiang Changkong still had his hands behind his back, allowing the 7 great emperors to attack him. Arrogant. The 7 great emperors were enraged. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. Rumble. The boundless power of the 3 lights bombarded Jiang Changkong's body, drowning everything. The earth was dissipating, the void was shattering, and the power of the 3 lights was wreaking havoc. Many divine proximity formations released shocking killing intent and landed on Jiang Changkong's body. Clang! Bang! The expressions of the 7 great emperors sank at the same time. A terrifying power came back, and the 7 of them exploded at the same time. His dragon robe was still the same, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. From the beginning to the end, Jiang Changkong didn't move a finger. Ants, have you given up all hope because of this laughable trap? Jiang Changkong said indifferently as he looked at the 7 martial emperors who had recovered and had shocked expressions. How could they fight this? They attacked with all their strength, but not only did they not injure their opponent, but they were also shattered. The attacks from the divine proximity formations also couldn't break through their defense. A divine proximity, a Tao might that reigned above all things, suddenly exploded. Jiang Changkong raised his palm, and a monstrous power surged out. The entire imperial star couldn't bear the burden and seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Divine proximity? No, impossible. The 7 great emperors were shocked. The 2 great emperors outside and the divine proximity formations were all shocked. The great Qin emperor had reached the divine proximity realm. What do you want, no? The North Sea emperor felt the threat of death looming over him. Stop! How dare you? Thunder boomed out as the godlike figures furiously roared. Great Qin's great emperor was going to kill again. If I want to kill him, none of you can save him, Jiang Changkong said coldly, and the North Sea's sovereign exploded into the power of 3 lights that filled the sky and dissipated in the air. Great Qin's emperor, you've gone too far. Angry roars resounded through the air. The true gods were completely enraged. Previously, you could say that you didn't know anything about the great emperor of the West Wilderness. After all, the West Sea great emperor didn't die, so they didn't care. However, despite knowing that they were there, Great Qin's emperor had still killed the North Sea Shi emperor. This was a provocation, and it was also destroying the path to immortality. Boom! The power of 3 lights rose mightily, suppressing the great emperors beside him. He raised his head and looked at the true gods as he sneered. I will kill them and become an immortal as soon as possible. Isn't that what you all want? Enough. What are you trying to do? Can you guarantee that you can fuse the 3 great battle bodies and cultivate the ultimate battle body? Chapter 463. I can't, but I'm stronger than all of them. I'm already number 1. Jiang Changkong slowly soared into the sky, and so did the 6 great emperors. He looked at the near gods with cold eyes. Only near gods can truly open it. Only then will they be able to pressure you and allow you to fuse the ultimate body. Hua Tianrui's expression was cold. Or do you want to die? You can't open the door to immortality with just the 3 ultimate bodies. Great Qin Emperor, how many times have we tolerated you? The near gods said coldly. They tolerated him again and again for immortality. Otherwise, they would have killed Jiang Changkong long ago. For immortality? Jiang Changkong scoffed. If it wasn't for immortality, for the entire universe, would we tolerate your impudence? The near god star demon said fiercely. Jiang Changkong was the star demon who slaughtered the West Baron. Jiang Changkong smiled faintly. His eyes grew colder. Then, continue to tolerate me. The remaining emperors were speechless. How could he be so arrogant and make the near gods tolerate him? You ant, you've completely angered me. The star demon was completely furious. If he didn't teach him a lesson today, he would never be tamed. Come at me. If you move, I'll kill you. Jiang Chankong looked at the star demon with disdain. He was just an early stage near God, yet he thought so highly of himself. Calm down, Hua. Tianrui raised her hand to stop the star demon. She looked at Jiang Chankong. Where are the near gods of Hades? Hee. Eerie cackles and overwhelming ghost chi. The 9 near gods of Yellow Spring had all arrived on Second Earth. Mother of Evil, what's the meaning of this? Hua Tianrui asked calmly. Great Emperor, do you want to explain? Mother of Evil asked respectfully. The 8 emperors didn't feel good. Look at him. His attitude was at the limit of the near gods. Should he explain? If it were them, they would have explained immediately. The king of the mermaids came again after a flash of azure light. My old friend, you guys are really restless. What's wrong now? The king of the mermaids was happy that Jiang Chankong had become a near god. However, could you not be so impulsive? Every time you leveled up, you either killed or beat them up. You even challenged a group of near gods. I gave them a chance, Jiang Chankong said indifferently. Since they don't cherish it, I will naturally take care of it. Great Emperor, what do you mean by that? Killing intent flashed in Hua Tianrui's eyes. Great Qin's Great Emperor was becoming more and more outrageous. What excuse should he find this time? Before I go into seclusion, I'll give them time to prepare and have them hand over their resources. If they don't want to hand it over, where will my face be? This is a challenge to my dignity, Jiang Chankong said coldly. The corners of the near gods' mouths twitched. You're just a puppet. You don't need any dignity. The 8 great martial monarchs remained silent. They felt even more upset. Compared to this person from Great Qin, they were simply too useless. Look, if you want resources, you don't have to look for them. You have to ask them directly. You don't want to give them? You're looking down on me. I'm going to beat you up. Those are their resources. Why should they hand them over to you? A near god said angrily. What a joke. In a war between nations, you can snatch resources. I have the strength, so why can't I? Jiang Chankong looked at the near god coldly, then glanced at the 8 great martial monarchs. Since I am the great emperor, everything in the world belongs to me. You, Hua Tianrui's face darkened. This was too overbearing. He was even more overbearing than them. They didn't even belong to his nation. The near god said with a gloomy face, Yellow Spring Branch, shouldn't you teach your great emperor a lesson? Everything in the world belonged to him. Where did he put them? The near gods. What was the Yellow Spring Branch doing? Did they really listen to him? He is the great emperor, and we are his guards. How can we teach the great emperor? The ghost mother chuckled. She didn't take their threats seriously at all. If they really fought, the Mermaid King would also help them. No one knew who would win and who would lose. I have something to say. I hope the great emperor will listen to me, the Mermaid King said softly. Speak, Jiang Chankong said indifferently. We all want to become immortals. If we can become immortals, we can forget about everything. The great emperor's talent is amazing, but we can't stop him from becoming immortals. The Mermaid King chuckled. The great emperor wouldn't want to be unable to become immortals in the end, right? Jiang Chankong said calmly. What do you mean, Sea King? What I mean is simple. The great emperors won't come out until they become near gods, the Mermaid King said. Jiang Chankong thought for a while and said, since we've gained something this time, I'll do it for the Sea King's sake. Thank you, great emperor. The Mermaid King smiled. That was the end of the matter. Jiang Chankong left with the near gods and returned to Earth. After thinking for a while, Jiang Chankong threw a drop of blood into the starry sky. The near gods saw it, but they didn't care. On the imperial star, Hua Tianrui's expression turned ugly. Mermaid King, you let him go so easily? The other near gods were unhappy too. They wanted to teach the great emperor a lesson. However, the Sea King came and persuaded him to leave with just a few words. Everyone will ask my old friend to bring the great emperor to the Yellow Springs for seclusion. Once he goes in, we'll seal him inside and let him out when he becomes a near god. The Mermaid King smiled. Do you really want to fight him to the death? Mermaid King, What's the relationship between the Yellow Springs and the Great Qin Emperor? The near gods asked. The mermaid king sighed. They're too lenient. In order to become immortals, the Yellow Springs are more tolerant than you. The great emperor, the near gods of the Yellow Springs are disobedient and dare to die in front of them. The near gods. Is that even possible? The 8 great emperors looked at each other. Should we try too? Aren't you afraid of losing control? One of the near gods frowned. The Yellow Springs is going to become immortals. What do you think? The mermaid king waved his hand and sent the 8 great emperors away. If necessary, we'll go along with them. We'll die anyway. The near god's expression softened. The mermaid king's words made sense. It was fine to go along with them occasionally. Opening the gate of immortality was a dead end anyway. They only needed to become immortals. I'll contact my old friend and arrange for the Great Qin Emperor to be sealed. The mermaid king turned around and left. Many near gods also started to leave. The 8 great emperors looked at each other and returned to their respective homes. They were all very sad. I want to switch places with the Great Qin Emperor. Nan Yuyong sat on the dragon throne. His future was bleak. The Great Qin Emperor was something to look forward to. He couldn't. The near gods of the earth were nice to him, but it was useless. The near gods of the earth were much weaker than the Yellow Springs. Also, the near gods of the earth were quite lenient to him. It seemed that it was his problem. In that case, he should learn from the Great Qin Emperor. He should kill whoever he didn't like. At the very least, he should beat them until they didn't dare to provoke him. He should strive to become a near god and challenge the near gods once. Although the Great Qin Emperor retreated in the end, wasn't it a compromise from the near gods? Crack! After an unknown period of time, a crisp voice rang out, startling Nan Yuyong. Who's there? Nan Yuyong, you've been the great emperor for so long. Don't you recognize me? It's you. Chapter 464. It's you. Nan Yuyong abruptly stood up and looked at the newcomer in shock. His aura was completely restrained, making it impossible to see through him. Jiang Changkong, a person who was supposed to be dead, his ashes scattered back to earth. You're not dead? Do you think those near gods will let you go? Nan Yuyong's expression changed. He could not understand why this person was still alive. Do you think it's appropriate to discuss it here? Jiang Changkong said calmly. Nan Yuyong gaped for a moment, then quickly led him into a private chamber, which was guarded by a great Tao that near divinity. As soon as the two of them entered the secret chamber, a figure in a blue dress appeared. Jiang Changkong, how dare you? You didn't die and still came running here. Ying Liuli stared at him. What the hell is going on? Nan Yuyong's mind was in a mess. Ying Liuli said lightly, then you'll have to ask him. Jiang Changkong smiled. I have to thank Lady Ying Liuli for helping me conceal this. I'm afraid that your current strength is not inferior to mine. If you continue to address me as my lord, you will be looking down on me, Ying Liuli said. Changkong, you've become a god? That's great. Nan Yuyong pressed down on Jiang Changkong's shoulder and said excitedly. Jiang Changkong chuckled. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? Nan Yuyong smiled and said, in that case, I'll be relieved. I'll leave this mess to you. All you need to do is take care of the Nan clan in the future. Ying Liuli frowned and said, cut the crap. Fortunately, I'm the one who's back this time and not the gods from other countries. Jiang Changkong nodded and said calmly, next, do what you have to do. Don't think too much and don't provoke those near gods. We don't have the strength to provoke them, Nan Yuyong said helplessly. Don't expose my identity. Take this drop of blood back to Earth and keep it safe. Don't let anyone find it. I gave myself a deadline of 100 years. Within 100 years, my main body will return. After speaking, Jiang Changkong turned into a drop of blood and floated in the air. Blood rebirth. Next, even if he were to die from the shock of opening the immortal gate, as long as the drop of blood remained, he should be able to be reborn. It could be considered a protective measure. Of course, if the recoil was too strong and completely destroyed his life force, this drop of blood would probably not be of much use. Where's your main body? That bastard didn't even explain clearly, cursed Nan Yuyong, but he was smiling. Ying Liuli put away the drop of blood and sealed it in a bottle covered with Tao patterns. Find a way to send it back to Earth or give it to his 3 senior sisters. I know where his real body is. What you need to do now is to cultivate properly and wait patiently. On the other side, Jiang Changkong was very obedient and entered seclusion. This time, he didn't get any resources, nor did he get any near-divine potions. It couldn't be helped. That group of near-gods was too much. Going out this time was to tell them that he was close to becoming a god. He entered the self-sealed yellow spring to cultivate. A group of near-deities hurriedly acted and sealed him inside. Jiang Changkong smiled and stepped into the spatial crack. Nether Dragon Jiang Zhongming came with him. Jiang Changkong brought Jiang Zhongming to the black screen again. Looking at the endless golden substance, Jiang Zhongming's expression changed. Brother Kong, is this what you've always wanted? Yes, it's also the thing that will cut off your hope of becoming a deity. Jiang Changkong grinned. Brother Dragon, you go into seclusion first. Wait for me to get some, then I'll go into seclusion. I'll help you, said Jiang Zhongming. After all, I'm a mid-stage star saint now. This place can kill near gods, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Then be careful. Jiang Zhongming decisively stopped talking and went into seclusion. Jiang Changkong distanced himself from Jiang Zhongming. He took out the Taiyin blade and slashed down. Each slash could produce 100,000 essences, but it would also cause serious injuries and require rest. After he rested, the place had already returned to its original state. He continued to slash. In one day, he could produce about 300,000 essences. One day and one night was 600,000. 365 days in a year. That was 219 million. After becoming a near god, Starpath resources were already useless. The resources of those countries probably could not even compare to this. Jiang Changkong thought for a while and created a drop of blood clone to deal with these golden substances. He also brought the equipment. The only downside was that he was injured and the clone would become unstable. Fortunately, he took it slow, so the clone would not be destroyed. Time passed, and a year passed in the blink of an eye. The remaining 8 great emperors were stimulated by Jiang Changkong and furiously improved. Some near gods were guided by the Mermaid King and started to fulfill some requirements. This made the great emperors see hope. They were also somewhat grateful to Jiang Changkong. He fought for this for them. The near gods would take turns to watch over them every year. The yellow spring sealed itself to prevent Jiang Changkong from escaping. This one was too restless and had to be guarded at all times. In a year, Jiang Changkong obtained the estimated essences and went into seclusion. After spending 3 years to become a near god mid-stage, he still had 100 million left. Perfect near god mid-stage required 700 million essences. Fortunately, he could get 1 million a day after becoming a near god mid-stage. In less than 2 years, he was almost done. Jiang Changkong continued his seclusion. Using 2 years, he gathered the essences. Another 5 years to become a near god late stage. He still had 100 million left. The essence, chi, and spirit required for the late stage of the god realm was even more terrifying. Each martial art required 612. 5 million fortunately. He could now get more every day 6 million essence, chi, and spirit. In a year, he could perfect a martial skill. In 8 years and 3 months, Jiang Changkong, including the previous 100 million, gathered enough essences and stepped in a near god peak. Jiang Changkong continued to improve, and his strength became more and more terrifying. Jiang Zhongming also improved. With the Enlightenment treasure and enough corpses, he also reached Star Sage late stage. Jiang Changkong's transformation took 10 years. In total, he had been in seclusion for 29 years and 3 months. After such a long time, he did not appear. The near gods heaved a sigh of relief. This restless fellow had finally settled down. The starry sky returned to peace. The great emperors all broke through the near god realm and went into seclusion to break through. When the near gods received the news, they almost went crazy. They used almost all of their abilities to quickly transform. Jiang Changkong did not have the help of the near gods, but he was full of anticipation. He wondered if leveling up his ability would allow him to become an immortal in the mortal world. Jiang Changkong. Near God peak top grade martial skill. Indestructible golden body. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Tai Chi Sutra. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Sun Sutra. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Moon Sutra. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Death Heavenly Blade. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Sky Imperial Scripture. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Cloud Tao. Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Top Grade Array Art. Battle Body Star Formation. Incomplete Perfect. 1/4287. 5 million Essence, Energy and Spirit. 1588. Looking at the almost unchanged golden substance above his head, Jiang Changkong was excited. Immortal Realm, here I come. The moon blade rose again. This time, a large piece of the 4 Tao bodies was torn off. Essence, Energy, and Spirit. 500,000, unable to be withdrawn. 3 million for a day and a night. In less than 4 years, he could perfect a martial skill and break through to the immortal realm. Immortality was right in front of him. Therefore, Jiang Changkong did not go out. Even if he was near the near God peak and could sweep through everything, it was still too troublesome. But that was still too troublesome and might even destroy the starry sky. After becoming an immortal, those near gods would be ants. Chapter 465. The great emperor's transformations were even slower than Jiang Changkong's. Even with the help of a group of near gods, they couldn't compare to Jiang Changkong's treasures. In 30 years, not a single great emperor had become a near god. On the other hand, their nations had started to fight fiercely under the push of the near gods. Only Great Qin was still peaceful. Yellow Springs didn't participate in the battle, so no one provoked them, not even the near gods. Earth was the weakest in the fierce battle and had already retreated into the Starry Gate. Many nations and races also came to invade. In the end, it was Lioli who stopped them from attacking. North Sea had already been destroyed. Without the great emperor's nation, there was no reason for it to exist. The other nations killed each other and fought for territory. They set up the Triple Light Formation in the places they took. When the victor was decided, they would receive the 3 immortal palaces and then bury the stars to become immortals. The near god's plan was perfect. Great Qin's great emperor also settled down without any surprises. However, the living beings in the stars fought with their lives on the line. They gave up everything, only to help the near gods. They didn't even know why they were fighting. They only knew it was the great emperor's decree. Another 32 years passed. Jiang Changkong started to transform. He was going to complete the near god realm and reach the limits of the near god realm. The great emperors were also at the final stage. Another 10 years passed. The great emperors came out of seclusion and reached the near god realm. Beams of light shot into the sky. The power of the 3 lights shook the entire space. 8 near gods with 3 great battle bodies. In the stars, other than West Wilderness and Yellow Springs, the Triple Light Formation was everywhere. The final battle begins. Beams of starlight guided the 8 near god great emperors. Many near god great emperors worked together to create a 7-colored world. A near god star demon looked down at the group of great emperors from high above. Imperial teacher, why don't I see Great Qin's great emperor? Huang Qianlin asked respectfully. He looked around, but didn't see Great Qin's great emperor. He's still in seclusion. The near god star demon said, only the last of you can fight him. I see. Thank you, Imperial teacher. Huang Qianlin understood and said, Imperial teacher, disciple has something to offer Imperial teacher. Oh, Star Demon's interest was piqued. What could the 3 great combat bodies, which were close to god level, have to offer him? They probably wouldn't be interested in ordinary things. Imperial Preceptor, please take a look. Boom! The power of 3 lights exploded and blasted the Star Demon. This gift is the life of the imperial preceptor. Huang Qianlin's expression was malevolent, and the power of the three lights surged. After so many years, it's time to change positions. Kill. Rumble. The sky trembled as the endless power of the three lights surged into the colorful world. The colorful world collapsed, and the power of the three lights engulfed the star demon. The 8 martial monarchs revealed a menacing expression at this moment. After being puppets for so many years, they couldn't help it in the end. Even if I die without an intact corpse, I, Huang Qianlin, am still a great emperor. Huang Qianlin roared, his voice shaking the galaxy. I will not be a puppet. I will not be a puppet either. He roared angrily, venting the anger he had suppressed for so many years. The formation was activated in the starry sky. Before opening the celestial gate, it faced the near gods. The near god star demon was torn into pieces, and there was no sign of life. After killing the near god star demon, the 8 martial monarchs gathered together with a cold expression. They didn't leave. They were waiting for the near gods to come. The Trilite formation was still activated, strengthening them. This time, they were going to resist. Even if they had to die, they had to let the near gods know. They weren't playthings. Rumble. The starry sky shook, and waves of tyrannical aura swept out. Thousands of flowers bloomed, creating a beautiful scene. Darkness enveloped them, and soul power formed a dark space. Roar. Power runes roared, and the near gods stepped out of the void. All the near gods, whether they were new near gods or ancient near gods, descended at this moment. All of you have disappointed us too much. Hua Tianrui's cold voice sounded. Disappointed? Who is the one who disappointed? Huang Qianlin sneered and looked at one of the near gods. I am truly grateful that you saved me back then. In the beginning, I wholeheartedly regarded you as the emperor's teacher and treated you as a disciple. But in the past few hundred years, what have you treated me as? High and mighty near gods, aren't you afraid that the peak near god of the great Qin dynasty will kill you all? Tianwang Emperor sneered. His expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. In order to become immortals, these near gods had become a cancer in the starry sky. Everything you have was given by us. Hua Tianrui's expression didn't change at all. From a moment you walked out of the starry sky gate, from a moment you were weak high-level warriors, we left the ruins for you to increase your strength, and we taught you cultivation methods so that you could move forward. You don't know how to repay kindness, and you still want to fight with swords. Exchange sincerity for sincerity. If you don't have sincerity, you can only kill with a butcher's knife. Huang Qianlin laughed, and the sun and Yin's swords slashed down at the same time. You're going to die anyway. I won't let you get what you want. You want to become immortals? Go beg that person of the great Qin dynasty. The other 7 great emperors roared. The power of the near gods and the power of the three lights were pushed to the limit. The entire starry sky shone with the power of the three lights. The 3 great war physiques were risking their lives. Ridiculous. Just ants. The near gods sneered, and the ancient near gods attacked at the same time. Boom! The power of the three lights was destroyed. The near god great emperors couldn't withstand a single blow. They had just stepped into the near god realm, and they were too far away from the limit. Risking their lives was no different from a joke at this moment. The power of the near gods dissipated, and the 8 great emperors were formed. Hua Tianrui's expression was indifferent. Do you still want to struggle? I said that I came to die today. I have no regrets becoming a near god. Huang Qianlin shouted coldly and charged forward again. The 8 great emperors, including Nan Yuyang, didn't care about their lives. Buzz. Suddenly, the power of the three lights stopped, and a 9-story blood-colored palace appeared. Whoosh! The Tao patterns of the 3 lights pierced through their bodies like chains, fixing them in the void. Do you think that you can resist after becoming a near god? Or do you think that by joining forces and using the 3-light array, there will be a miracle? Hua Tianrui's indifferent expression showed a hint of mockery. If we can make you immortals, we can also destroy you. We brought you to immortality, and gave you opportunities. Why don't you cherish them? She said coldly. The 8 great emperors were fixed in the void, as if they had been frozen. They couldn't do anything or move. A long time ago, we left behind a method. We are the masters of the 3 palaces. There was no emotion on her cold face, only a bone-chilling coldness. Nan Yuyang, you were the most obedient. Why did you walk the path of evil like them? Hua Tianrui sighed softly. The faintly visible blood-colored palace disappeared, and the 8 great emperors regained their ability to move. Nan Yuyang's expression was gloomy, and he didn't say anything. It turned out that they couldn't even resist. No wonder the one who had been indulging the great Qin dynasty wasn't worried. The near gods had their lives in their hands and could destroy them at any time. Even if they reached the limit of the near god realm, they would still end up like this, let alone become a near god. Chapter 466. In the starry sky, nearly all the deities had gathered. Hua Tianrui and the other near gods were disappointed. Ying Liuli's expression was cold, but there was nothing she could do. This group of near gods had gone crazy in order to become immortals. If you don't understand your destiny, I can tell you again. Hua Tianrui sighed softly, as if the world did not understand her. We are doing this for the starry sky, and for you. The 8 great emperors sneered. For the starry sky? For us? How King shameless. In order to become immortals, you flaunt yourselves as saints. For the starry sky? Then why don't you risk your lives to open the gate of immortality? Don't meddle in our affairs. We'll fight for what we should and do whatever we want. When the time comes, we can open the gate of immortality ourselves. Why do we have to kill each other? Won't we be stronger if we join forces? Nan Yuyang couldn't help but shout coldly. The immortal sect only wants the strongest. Numbers are meaningless. The sole martial artist said indifferently. The recoil wasn't directed at a single person. The number of people who attacked was the same as the number of people who attacked. Quantity was meaningless. Moreover, the trilite grand formation of the 3 great immortal palaces could only guarantee one. It would be impossible to have one more. Is this all your rules? Huang Qianlin sneered. No, it was decided by the immortal gods. Hua Tianrui said indifferently. This is the method to open the celestial gate left by the immortal god. It's not just you. Your descendants will never be able to achieve immortal ascension in this starry sky. Isn't there still great Qin? That person is far above us. Let him open it, the West Sea Great Emperor said coldly. He is still not strong enough. We will help you improve quickly and do our best to help you. As for you, you can either give great Qin pressure or be killed by him. Hua Tianrui snorted and turned to leave. I hope you don't make a mistake. As the near gods left, the 8 great emperors looked at each other and fell silent. I'll be leaving first. Nan Yuyang sighed and left dejectedly. The strongest of the 3 great combat bodies? It was just a joke. Even if the 8 of them joined hands, they wouldn't be able to change anything. The 8 great monarchs left one after another, returning to their own countries. In the starry sky, the triple light array had already dimmed, signifying that their resistance had failed. The 8 great emperors were not depressed, and the near gods would not let them be. He had to think of a way to improve their strength. Second Earth. The place was a mess. The buildings had collapsed, and many cultivators lay unconscious on the ground. Nan Yuyang watched in a daze as he stepped into the arch palace, which was still intact. Great Emperor before Close God came. A martial artist, full of cracks, sat paralyzed in the Emperor Palace. Nan Yuyang waved his hand. He had already guessed it. Ying Liuli appeared with a solemn expression and didn't say a word. Withdraw. Nan Yuyang sighed, allowing the martial artist to leave. There were only 2 people left in the palace. Nan Yuyang looked up at Ying Liuli and mocked himself. A real puppet, a puppet that can't jump out. There's still hope? Ying Liuli said softly. Nan Yuyang nodded gloomily. I know. Don't worry about me. Ying Liuli nodded and turned to leave. Pass down my order. From today onwards, no matter who it is, they must listen to the imperial preceptor's orders and must not disobey. Nan Yuyang roared at the top of his lungs. Since he wanted to obey, he could only obey. This time, he had injured people and destroyed buildings. Next time, he would probably kill them all. After issuing this order, Nan Yuyang announced that he would go into seclusion. The other 7 nations, like Nan Yuyang, completely handed over their nations to the close gods. They went into seclusion to improve themselves. The remaining 9 nations once again developed steadily. Apart from the Great Qin, geniuses emerged in the other nations almost every once in a while. Yu Qinyan of the Golden Feather Clan finally stepped into the close god realm, but he hid it and didn't show it. Time passed, and another 5 years went by. Time did not hold back. Jiang Changkong had been in seclusion for 76 years. Some mortals had already died of old age, and many starry sky geniuses had emerged. In the starry sky, except for a small number of people, most people had forgotten that there used to be a genius called Jiang Changkong. It was worth mentioning that Jiang Changkong's friends were doing fine. They looked after the territory and didn't let anyone destroy it. His 3 senior sisters had also become Starpath warriors and began to work for the immortal nation of Earth. On this day, it was also a critical moment for Jiang Changkong. In his mind, the second sentence in history to upgrade an ability besides essence, qi, and spirit appeared. 1. Upgrade by fusion. 2. Upgrade normally. Jiang Changkong was silent for a moment and chose to fuse. He had too many martial arts, and sometimes he couldn't even use them against enemies. Especially the 7 great Daos. The strongest he could open was 4, which was a bit excessive. Didn't these near gods want to fuse with the strongest combat body? He was far stronger than the 3 combat bodies, and he didn't know what he could fuse with. A new transformation began again, and Jiang Changkong entered a new realm. A new transformation, a power that didn't belong to the mortal world, a true immortal god. The golden treasure floating above his head kept shedding divine light. Jiang Zhongming looked at Jiang Changkong, who was still in seclusion, and his heart palpitated. The aura that completely transcended heaven and earth was even stronger and deeper than the ethereal aura of the immortal desolate. The power that belonged to immortals. The mortal world shouldn't exist. Today, the legend of immortality was broken. With Jiang Changkong's transformation, another period of silence came. 20 years passed in the blink of an eye, and Jiang Changkong had been in seclusion for 96 years. In the past, high-level warriors were everywhere in his territory, and there were also a few top warriors. With the help of resources and medicines, the 3 senior sisters had reached the peak of the star path. Ji Xiling and the other 2 sat in a secret chamber, trying to break through to the star sage level. Suddenly, a palpitating feeling came from Ji Xiling's hand. What's going on? The 3 opened their eyes at the same time. Ji Xiling waved her hand, and a bottle full of near-god great Tao patterns appeared. There was a drop of golden blood inside, and it was transforming. It turned gray, and a gray aura spread out. The bottle couldn't bear it, and cracks appeared. Bang! Bang! The near-god great Tao patterns were broken, and wisps of terrifying aura filled the secret chamber and spread out. Bang! Finally, the bottle cracked and turned into powder, an aura that didn't belong to the mortal world, and it was superior to all things, came from the gray blood. What's going on? Ing Liuli appeared, and a great pressure came over, making her, who was close to a god, feel even more pressured. A supreme, and noble aura emanated from the gray blood. The drop of blood seemed to have become the only thing in the starry sky. Rumble. The aura spread out, and it was still spreading. The imperial star shook. Then, the blooming starfield shook and continued to spread. The shaking became stronger, and it gradually affected half of the starry sky. The stargate on Earth shook and cracked. The aura of immortals. The power of immortals. One by one, the near gods opened their eyes and looked at the shaking starry sky in shock. Why did the aura of immortals appear at this time? Could it be that someone had become an immortal? The ultimate body? The current ultimate body was basically at the early god level, and it hadn't even reached the limit of the early god level. Unless it was the one from the Great Qin dynasty. Wherever the aura of the gray blood passed, the heavy pressure made it impossible for the near gods to move. Hundreds of flowers bloomed, plants grew wildly, beasts roared, and all things were recovering. Chapter 467. That's the direction of Earth, not the great Sheen. The near gods crossed the starry sky and headed for Earth. In the secret chamber, everything seemed to be still. The three senior sisters and Ing Lioli were all motionless. Only their eyes looked at the drop of blood in horror. In front of that drop of blood, it seemed that everything had to bow down. The great Tao was dim, and the near gods couldn't do anything. One by one, the near gods rushed into the secret chamber, but the result was the same. They all froze. At this time, the golden blood had all turned gray. The misty power seemed to be the source of all things. A mysterious aura shocked the near gods. It was the power of an immortal god that was stronger than Hua, Tianrui's stone tablet. Buzz! With a slight tremble, a drop of blood broke the void and escaped into the void crack. The pressure disappeared, and the near gods were delighted. Chase! That was definitely the blood of an immortal god, and not an ordinary one. Although they didn't know how it got there, they had to get it. After regaining her ability to move, Tianrui didn't rush to Chase. She looked at Ing Lioli and the three senior sisters. How did that thing get there? A stone I picked up before. I don't know how it became like that. Ji Xiling shook her head. Ing Lioli frowned. Let's go after it first, Queen of the Sea of Flowers. Hua Tianrui thought for a moment and rushed into the crack. One by one, the near gods rushed into the crack to chase after the blood. Ing Lioli sighed softly. She stood by their side and used her great Tao protector. I won't go. I don't want that soul to search my soul. What's going on? Ji Xiling and the other two were confused. That was clearly a drop of Jiang Changkong's blood. The power that erupted just now was beyond the reach of the near gods. Ing Lioli's expression darkened. Only immortals can surpass the near gods. The three senior sisters were silent. Jiang Changkong had become an immortal? 96 years. Ing Lioli thought to herself. 96 years. Had Jiang Changkong become an immortal? She was now at the limit of the early stage near God. Buzz. The void fluctuated, and wisps of gray air entered the bodies of the four. Ing Lioli's eyes lit up. She saw a mid-stage demigod. The three senior sisters were also shocked. The Star Saint realm was right in front of them, and they could break through it at any time. Was this the power of immortals and gods? Before long, Nan Yuyang and the higher-ups of Earth arrived. What happened? Nan Yuyang was the first to ask. Boom! The void tore open, and a drop of gray blood flew out. A strand of it entered Nan Yuyang's body. Then, the blood tore through the void again and left. Chase. A group of near deities chased after him. This is demigod middle stage? I'm going into seclusion. Nan Yuyang said excitedly. That energy just now had helped him break through his bottleneck. The near deities chased after it and discovered that the gray blood had gone to seek out the great emperors of the various countries. Every single one of them had split up a bit of power. The last strand rushed into the yellow springs, ignoring the seals of the near gods, and disappeared. What's going on? The near gods were confused and couldn't help but look at Hua Tianrui. Hua Tianrui frowned and said, I don't know. It seems to be a trick left by the immortals. When the time comes, I'll search the souls of the three women and we'll know. Those three people seem to be Jiang Changkong's friends? A near god said, Jiang Changkong. Hua Tianrui's face darkened. I still feel that there's something wrong with Jiang Changkong's death. The other near gods didn't say anything. It was too late to ask questions. They had all turned into ashes and scattered on earth. If you really have the ability to recognize them, even if they turn into ashes, then go and find them. The group of near gods left to find Ji Xiling and the other two. Ing Lioli and the other near gods of Earth couldn't stop them at all. They could only watch as their souls were searched. Let's go. The near god of soul left with his people. How'd it go? Many near gods asked. She didn't lie. She really picked up a stone by accident. She just thought it was extraordinary, so she kept it, the near god of soul said. This was the information he obtained from the soul search. Send more people to keep an eye on it, just in case, Hua Tianrui said coldly. The three senior sisters all broke through to the Star Saint realm without any hindrance. They entered instantly and transformed very quickly. In just a few days, they succeeded. Nan Yang also successfully broke through to the mid-stage near God. The other 7 great emperors did the same. After the breakthrough, Nan Yuyong's vision blurred. He came to a gray world. Next to him were the 7 great emperors. Huang Qianlin and the others were also here. Where is this? Nan Yuyong asked, puzzled. The other great emperors also shook their heads in confusion. While they were puzzled, another figure appeared. The Mermaid King of the 13 Sea Kings. Gray air surged, and a figure condensed. Jiang Changkong. Nan Yuyong looked happy. He looked at the figure that appeared excitedly. Jiang Changkong. The other great emperors were shocked. Huang Qianlin's expression was the most complicated. He had been beaten by Jiang Changwa. You've become a deity? The Mermaid King asked seriously. Only an immortal god could bring her to this special space without her noticing. Jiang Changkong put his hands behind his back and looked at them coldly. Mermaid King, tell them what happened. The Mermaid King thought for a moment and said, Okay, to open the gate of immortality. After saying everything, the great emperor's expressions changed drastically. The 3 combat bodies could not fuse to become a deity. To open the gate of immortality, he had to use the Tri-Light Array. Burying the stars and fusing them temporarily would kill them afterward. What about you? Have you fused them now? The great emperors stared at him. The 3 combat bodies could not fuse, but Jiang Changkong had the Taiji Dao and other great Daos. I'm at a critical moment. Taiji is 1, so I can fuse them. Jiang Changkong said calmly, You don't have to do anything now. Just delay until I come out. Are you trying to become a deity now, or just fusing them? The Mermaid King asked. Deity, Jiang Changkong said calmly. I will come out in 10 years at most. At that time, I will open the gate of immortality and give you a chance to become deities. Okay, we will delay for time, Nan Yuyong agreed. Jiang Changkong looked at the other great emperors and said, I won't mention the grudges of the past. You can't completely refine my immortal blood. If anyone dares to act recklessly, their souls will dissipate. You underestimate me too much. I will not be a puppet, Huang Qianlin said coldly. Then disperse. Jiang Changkong waved his hand, and the gray space disappeared. The great emperors and the Mermaid King's consciousness returned. They did not show it, and continued to cultivate as usual. Above the black screen, Jiang Changkong's transformation had reached a critical moment. Fusing to become an immortal, his martial arts, body, soul, and great Tao imprint had all fused into one. It was not just a matter of martial arts, but a complete fusion. The Tao patterns were fused into his bones and soul. There was no distinction between them. Jiang Changkong seemed to have transformed into a Tao that existed eternally. The power in his body turned gray, and the blood in his body turned gray as well. Jiang Changkong glanced at his data and saw a new line of information. Postnatal chaos Tao body. Fusion leveled up. Yin-yang power, Taiji, and the other 7 great Daos fused into one. They turned into chaos, and the 12 power patterns also fused into the new great Tao. The fusion of the great Tao still had the same ability as before. He could split the chaos. Chapter 468. The 7 stars on Stargate were all gone, leaving only one chaos star. Chaos was the origin of all things, the starting point of everything. The primal chaos created by Jiang Changkong was naturally incomparable to the real primal chaos. It was just the post-celestial primal chaos formed from one's own cultivation. The primal chaos could evolve into all things, and it could also transform into endless great Daos. New insights and understandings regarding the primordial chaos kept surging in his mind. There was also the transformation of the cultivation method into a true immortal scripture. First revolution of mysterious art. It didn't sound special, but Jiang Changkong thought of God. Pangu. Would the next stage be the second transition? When he gathered the 9 revolutions mysterious art, Would he be able to open the sky? Jiang Changkong was excited. Was this the postnatal minor Pango? At that time, would his Tao body be able to upgrade to the connate chaotic Tao body? Unfortunately, the upgraded ability would not answer him. There was one thing that was worth being pleasantly surprised about. His primal chaos divine power could now process essence, chi, and spirit without the help of any apparatus. Time slowly passed. Occasionally, the three great battle bodies would clash with each other, but none of them would kill. Hua Tianrui was so angry that she almost killed a few of them herself. He was thinking of opening the seal to summon Jiang Changkong, but was stopped by the king of the mermaids. Because of the immortal blood, the 8 martial emperors often said that they were about to break through, that they sensed an opportunity to merge. Hua Tianrui and the other near gods could only endure and fuse with the opportunity. They were going to become immortals. 9 years passed by quickly. Above the black screen, Jiang Changkong's transformation was finally complete. Shao Chun converted all the energy in his body into primal chaos divine energy, and the golden treasure no longer shone with divine light. At this point, Jiang Changkong could already tell what the golden treasure was. Pure laws. Many law fragments tangled together, forming a treasure that could accelerate one's cultivation of the great Tao and comprehend the immortal Tao laws. The great Tao of the mortal world starry sky could only be regarded as the power of laws. The immortal world, on the other hand, had laws that only immortals and gods could come into contact with. Jiang Changkong looked at his stats. Jiang Changkong, early martial immortal, early martial god, first revolution of mysterious art. Basic, 1/8000, acquired chaotic Taoist body. Basic, January 8000 essence, energy and spirit. 0 note. Those below the immortal realm will not be able to extract essence, chi, and spirit. The previous essence, chi, and spirit will be emptied. Boundless mighty power flowed through his body. It was the boundless power of chaos. Jiang Changkong looked up at the golden light in the sky and reached out to touch it. He immediately plucked off a large piece of it. The recoil force was still there, but it was almost negligible. It couldn't even break through his defense. At this moment, the darkness below was as fragile as a piece of paper. Little brother Kong. Jiang Zhongming flew over and circled around him curiously. What realm are you at now? Early immortal god. You can say that you are a martial god, but you can also say that you have become an immortal through martial arts. Jiang Changkong smiled faintly. The boundless golden light had also changed. Now, he had plucked out a large patch, and there were only a few hundred dots. The shrinkage was severe. Let's go. I'll take you to kill some immortals, then open the door to the immortal god world. Jiang Changkong directly tore through the black curtain and stepped into the starry sky. Rumble. Jiang Changkong descended into the starry sky, causing the entire starry sky to tremble. Billions of stars trembled. A supreme aura swept across the entire starry sky. It was as if doomsday had arrived. The stars could not bear the burden and seemed to be on the verge of exploding. What happened? Cries of alarm rang out. The immortals were terrified. Previously, it was just a drop of blood that shook the starry sky. Now, it was even more terrifying. Spatial rifts appeared one after another, and the immortals flew uncontrollably into a gray space. The Great Qin Emperor? The immortals cried out in shock when they saw the green fang mask. How can it be you? Hua Tianrui was also shocked. The person in front of her had far surpassed the immortals. You have become an immortal? His body and soul were both immortals. Even the ghost mother and other immortals were all unbelievable. Immortal. Someone had become an immortal before the immortal gate opened. The immortal god laws have been extracted. Have you fused with the ultimate combat body? Hua Tianrui's expression changed and was filled with joy. That's right, Jiang Changkong said faintly. I have become an immortal. Good, very good. Then open the immortal gate. The immortals were excited. Open the immortal gate and let them become immortals too, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Of course the immortal gate will be opened. I will also kill all of you vermin. In this part of the starry sky, no one can fight against us, even if you become an immortal. Hua Tianrui snorted coldly. The shadows of the three immortal palaces appeared, and the three great paths of light turned into chains, binding them. Is this the reason why you are so confident? Jiang Changkong said indifferently. He raised his palm, and the three lights shattered. Then I will show you the real three immortal palaces and divine halls. Rumble. The vast power of the three lights shook, and the three immortal palaces descended from the starry sky. Pieces of fragments flew from the starry sky and reformed the three immortal artifacts. How can this be? Hua Tianrui and the other ancient immortals exclaimed in disbelief. Their connection with the three immortal palaces had been cut off. Bury them. Jiang Changkong pointed his finger. It was like a pillar that supported the sky, covering the immortals. Kill. Even if you are an immortal, we can kill you together. Many immortals roared. Whether they were new or ancient, they were all fighting with their lives at this moment. Unfortunately, it was just like when they fought against the 8 great emperors. The finger fell. They couldn't resist. Their vitality dissipated, and one immortal god after another fell. The great path of near gods was suppressed to the extreme in front of the chaotic divine power. The queen of the sea of flowers' vitality was quickly dissipating. The unwillingness in her heart and the madness of becoming an immortal all disappeared at this moment. Soul immortal god, body refining immortal god, they only regretted not killing the person in front of them, but nurturing him instead. Finally, I don't have to wear a mask. Jiang Changkong took off the Yama mask and revealed his true face. Jiang Changkong, I curse you to die a horrible death in front of the immortal gate. Roars resounded, and many immortals cursed with hatred. The plan of many years, the hope of becoming an immortal, was destroyed by Jiang Changkong. On this day, the starry sky shook, and a large number of immortals fell. All the immortals who were crazy about becoming an immortal were wiped out by Jiang Changkong. The gratitude and grudges of the past dissipated. Jiang Changkong put down the Yama mask and looked at the starry sky. The entire starry sky was under his eyes. Even far away on Earth, a weed could be seen clearly at this moment. Everything was under his control. This was the immortal god realm, truly above the starry sky. The mermaid king was silent. She felt that she had released a monster. If Jiang Changkong chose to destroy the starry sky, no one could stop him. 1 year later, I will open the immortal gate with one hand and send you all to immortal ascension. After saying this, Jiang Changkong disappeared. The starry sky stopped shaking and returned to calm. Jiang Changkong threw a third of the immortal god corpses to Jiang Changkong and buried the rest on Earth. After a few years, these corpses would become resources. I have become an immortal god. Emperors of all countries focus on cultivation and wait for immortal ascension. Jiang Changkong's voice resounded throughout the starry sky. In 3 months, I will be waiting for you on Second Earth. All races in the starry sky can come. On Second Earth, Jiang Changkong stepped into the imperial palace and looked at Nan Yuyang, who was sitting on the dragon throne. I'm back. Should I say, welcome the great Qin Emperor, or welcome the return of the immortals of Earth? Nan Yuyang looked at him with a smile. The dragon robe on his body turned to dust. He finally did not have to be the emperor. Chapter 469. 3 months later, on Second Earth, Jiang Changkong had left behind 7 of his great Daos, all of which led directly to the immortal Dao. Of course, the path after becoming an immortal was gone. As for whether or not any of them had copied his path, he did not know. In any case, no one would be able to replicate it, unless they also had the ability to level up. Preaching the Tao to all living beings in the starry sky was also a form of repayment. Anyone could learn the 7 great Taos. Jiang Changkong did not pass on his Taoist form. He intended to leave it to the lineage of Earth. The great emperors of the various countries announced the dissolution of their countries, and so did the immortal kingdom of Earth. It was the same for Great Qin. Just as Jiang Changkong had said, it would be gone for a lifetime. The major races of the starry sky returned to their own territories and began to develop steadily. Jiang Chankong shot out streams of primal chaos divine power, evolving all living things and reviving some dead stars. The planet, which had been depleted of resources, became rich again. Ordinary immortals would definitely not be able to do that, but chaos divine power could evolve all things. It was the source of all things. In fact, those that absorbed a lot of primal chaos energy could even grow to the level of a deity or even an immortal grade treasure. The 4 immortal artifacts and 3 immortal palaces were all gathered. These things were all given to Nan Yuyang. They were useless to him now. The 4 great celestial artifacts could only be considered the weakest, and they couldn't even break through his defense. For the next few months, Jiang Chankong brought his senior sisters back to Earth to play. Jiang Zhongming went into seclusion with the treasures. He wanted to reach the immortal god realm as soon as possible and ascend to become an immortal. With his guidance, the 3 senior sisters all reached the peak of the Star Saint realm. If he left the chaos divine power for them, they would be able to speed up their cultivation and transformation in the future. A year passed by quickly, and the king of the mermaids and the other gods came to find him. These near gods all wanted to know what had happened in the immortal world, and they wanted nothing more than to immediately rush over. Jiang Chankong was also curious about why the immortal spirit had left and extracted the nomological powers back then. After bidding farewell to his seniors, he brought the near gods to the black screen. "Are you sure you don't need the 4 immortal artifacts and the 3 immortal palaces?" the Mermaid King asked. "There's no need. I'm a true immortal god now." Jiang Chankong raised his palm, and wherever his chaos divine power passed through, large chunks of golden matter would fall into his hand. The golden substance stopped growing and quickly disappeared. The starry sky glowed brilliantly with bursts of mystical auras. A huge door hung in the sky, sealing off the entire starry sky. The golden substance completely dissipated, and a mysterious door appeared. Jiang Chankong punched out. Rumble. The tightly shut gate was blasted open, and waves of profound law power extended out into the starry sky. An irresistible suction force came from the door. Jiang Chankong's vision darkened as he exclaimed, "What's going on? Doesn't he know that immortals and gods can't resist ascension?" said Ghost Mother coolly. "You didn't tell him?" The Mermaid King was slightly startled, but he quickly regained his composure. "Forget it then. I'll leave first. See you in the celestial world. See you in the immortal world." Ghost Mother, the Nether Dragon, and the other peak Nether gods had reached the immortal god realm under the influence of the power of laws. Enveloped by the suction force, he ascended to the immortal world. In the first year of the Starry Sky immortal calendar, the first immortal on Earth, Jiang Chankong, opened the door to immortality and ascended to become an immortal. The immortal Tao, Law, entered the starry sky. The immortal Tao was no longer vague, and the Nether God realm was no longer the limit. As the immortal Tao Law entered, rays of law light illuminated the starry sky and baptized all living beings. Many Nether gods and top martial artists received the baptism of the immortal Tao Law, and their strength increased rapidly. Ji Xiling and the other 2 benefited greatly and directly broke through to the Nether God realm. Ing Liuli, Nan Yuyang, and the others entered the late-stage Nether God realm, and ascension was just around the corner. Some late-stage Nether gods also broke through to the peak Nether God realm, and were only 1 step away from ascending to immortality. Jiang Chankong opened the door to immortality, benefiting the entire starry sky and greatly increasing the strength of all living beings in the starry sky. Jiang Chankong, who had ascended, didn't feel anything. He fainted the moment he was enveloped by the suction force. After an unknown period of time, a message appeared in Jiang Chankong's mind. It was about upgrading abilities. In addition to upgrading, there was another ability, which was to complete the information of martial arts and secret techniques. As long as one had enough energy, one could deduce a full set of martial arts. Following that, a voice sounded. Your subordinate greets the Dragon King. Reporting to the Dragon King, these are the living beings from the Ascension Pool. One is a human, and the other is a merman. Oh, which world did they ascend from? Can you tell? A crisp female voice sounded. It was very calm, as if it wasn't a big deal. I can't tell, but they should be waking up soon. As soon as the voice fell, Jiang Chongkong felt that he could open his eyes. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a huge golden pool. Apart from him, there was also the Merman King. Beside the pool, there was a huge lobster and a chubby little girl with dragon horns. Wait, I just heard the Dragon King, God, are you kidding me? This little girl is the Dragon King? Dragon King. Jiang Chongkong carefully looked at the little girl and asked carefully, "You know me?" The little girl tried her best to raise her head, as if she wanted to show her dignity. Jiang Chongkong was silent for a moment. He looked at the Merman King, then at the huge lobster. Finally, his eyes stopped on the little girl. My ascension posture must be wrong. I'll go back and try again. The Dragon King was speechless. There is still a way to go back. The huge lobster shouted, "Come back, lowly ant. Why aren't you bowing to the Dragon King?" Jiang Chongkong wanted to go back and try again, but he couldn't find the way. The Merman King beside him was still unconscious. Jiang Chongkong looked at the huge lobster carefully. A near-divine lobster? I'm General Lobster, the General of the East Sea. Early-stage martial immortal Dragon King. The little girl lowered her head a little, as if she was trying to pretend to be an adult, but was seen through. Where did I ascend to? A near-divine General of the East Sea? An early-stage martial immortal could become a Dragon King? Wasn't that the lowest level of immortals? It was about the same level as him. However, he had a postnatal, chaotic Taoist body and cultivated the first transformation mystic art. He could be called a mini Pangu. Jiang Chongkong felt that he could kill the Dragon King. Then, Chongkong wreaked havoc in the sea. As if sensing Jiang Chongkong's disdain, the near-divine lobster said angrily, "An ant that formed an immortal body in 2 hours. Don't you dare be presumptuous." Immortal body? 2 hours? Jiang Chongkong frowned and walked out of the Ascension Pond. Where's this place? Why is there such a weak Dragon King? The Dragon King wrinkled his nose and said with a childish voice, "Don't be presumptuous. I can kill an immortal with no potential like you with one finger." Now, the Dragon King is asking you, if you want to live well in the celestial world, put away your arrogance in the mortal world. The near-divine lobster said coldly. All right, ask. Jiang Chongkong thought about it and didn't say anything else. The main reason was that he was shocked by the weak chicken Dragon King after Ascension. If it were an extremely powerful Dragon King, he would be able to accept it. However, an early-stage martial immortal, someone that he could casually beat up, had become a Dragon King. Which mortal world ascended from? What race? The huge lobster asked. Jiang Chongkong felt that it was a little funny and was puzzled. Which mortal world? Are there many in the mortal world? Chapter 470. I asked you which mortal realm you are from. What is the name of the starry sky you are from? The big lobster said angrily. This martial immortal that ascended could not understand lobster language at all. Our starry sky has no name. If you don't tell me, how would I know which mortal realm it is? Jiang Chongkong rolled his eyes. He had the urge to steam this lobster and make a plate of steamed prawns. The big lobster puffed and puffed, bubbles coming out of its mouth. Little Dragon King blinked. If you don't tell us, we can't register your information. I really don't know what the mortal realm is called. Jiang Chongkong shook his head helplessly. Register? What does that mean? The immortal realm needs to register information. Unregistered people will be expelled or even killed. Little Dragon King explained, Tell me about the mortal realm you are in. I will check which mortal realm it is. Jiang Chongkong pondered for a moment and said, The mortal realm I am in is divided into 4 seas and 8 desolations. North, south, east, west, north, south, east, west, desolation and heaven, earth, immortal, and deity. In the ancient era, the deity and dragon race left the mortal realm. The gate of ascension was closed and only opened recently. Little Dragon King was stunned. He turned his head to look at the big lobster. General Lobster, Which mortal realm is this? The big lobster used its pincer to knock on its shell and shook its head. I don't know. Jiang Changkong sighed and said, a dragon king and a general personally came to register my information. It must have been hard on you. The treatment of ascension is really good. A dragon king personally came to welcome me. It's just that this dragon king is a bit weak and the general is a bit weak. Little Dragon King pulled a long face and said, this is our mission. Also, you have ascended to the gate of my dragon palace. Dragon palace? Where is it? Jiang Changkong looked around and was at a loss. Aside from the golden pool, there was only azure seawater. He could not see anything like a dragon palace. Little Dragon King moved his body and revealed a crystal palace. Jiang Changkong turned silent. This is definitely a fake Dragon King. A palm-sized dragon palace? How did you get in there? I will look for a way back. Thank you. Jiang Changkong sank to the bottom of the pool and prepared to leave. Wait, if you don't register, it will be very dangerous if you go out. The immortals of the heavenly court will find you and kill you. Little Dragon King quickly shouted. Jiang Changkong floated up and glanced at the mermaid king who was still in a deep sleep. Let's wait for her to wake up. She's with me. Oh. Little Dragon King squatted down and looked at Jiang Changkong, who was soaking in the pool, and asked curiously, you are so weak. How did you ascend? Me? Weak? Jiang Changkong's mouth twitched. I can beat you up, you know. It must be the accumulation of resources. The godly lobster had seen through everything. His family must be an emperor in the mortal world. They must have collected all the resources in the mortal world. Wait, how did you guys determine that I'm weak? Jiang Changkong rubbed his forehead. The ascension pool? Ordinary immortals need 5 days to condense their immortal bodies. For those with extraordinary talent, they would need half a month. For someone like you, who needs 2 hours, it is almost impossible for you to become an immortal. Little Dragon King said. Jiang Changkong understood. There was actually such an ancient setting. He had already condensed his postnatal chaotic body in the mortal world. Naturally, he did not need these. Then, he would look at the Mermaid King and ask Little Dragon King about the situation in the celestial world. Little Dragon King did not hide anything, but she was just reading from the book and only understood the general situation. For example, the celestial world currently had 3 top forces: the heavenly court, the celestial court, and the celestial court. They were in the East Sea, which was under the jurisdiction of the heavenly court. Therefore, this little Dragon King was the Dragon King of the East Sea. The Dragon King of the East Sea's mission was to welcome the Ascenders here. Jiang Changkong was the 98th one he welcomed. And this Dragon King of the Dragon Sea's territory, that's right, was within a 1-meter radius of the Ascension Pool. It was not her territory after stepping 1 meter, and she would not be responsible for any danger. This Ascension Pool was only 10 meters in diameter. Why don't you come out? It's fine as long as you don't leave my territory. Little Dragon King said seriously, you can familiarize yourself with the immortal world in advance. With the protection of the Ascension Pool, you won't feel anything. The giant lobster said, the celestial realm isn't the mortal world. Even martial immortals can't fly for a long time. Only human immortals can. Oh, human immortal? Can you tell me more about the immortal god stage? Jiang Changkong asked. Of course you can. There are 9 great realms in the immortal god realm. Martial immortals were the lowest, followed by human immortals, heaven immortals, and deities. Immortal monarch, immortal king, immortal emperor, immortal supremacy, and sage. The little Dragon King explained, people like you who just flew up are martial immortals. Jiang Changkong nodded and stepped out of the Ascension Pool. A heavy pressure assaulted him. Fortunately, he had the acquired chaotic Taoist body, so this pressure was nothing. Continuing to discuss the immortal realm with the little Dragon King, Jiang Changkong sat cross-legged. The little Dragon King and the lobster were surprised by his adaptability, but they didn't say anything. Martial immortals ascended to immortality through martial arts. Those of the divine court were called martial gods. Human immortals who hadn't comprehended the laws and still had the aura of the mortal world were called human immortals in the divine court. Sky immortals who touched the laws of the immortal world and got rid of the impurities in the mortal world were called sky immortals. Little Dragon King of the Eastern Sea didn't know about deities and what came after that. Just by looking at the palm-sized dragon palace, he knew this Dragon King had a miserable life. Jiang Changkong took out the golden substance that he had plundered and started to process it. The little Dragon King and the giant lobster looked at the Mermaid King, waiting for her to wake up. He didn't know if it was because his chaotic divine power was very strong, or because the golden substance turned into water after he broke through. He processed it very quickly. In just a breath, he had processed a lot of it. The giant lobster rolled its eyes and looked at Jiang Changkong. It didn't recognize what kind of divine power it was. The little Dragon King glanced at it occasionally, but didn't recognize it. He was surprised by the substance in Jiang Changkong's hand. You actually have immortal stone powder. Immortal stone? What's that? Jiang Changkong's heart stirred as he asked. Immortal stones are used by deities for cultivation. They're very precious. I haven't seen immortal stones for 4,000 years, the little Dragon King said enviously. He must be a prodigal in the mortal world, the giant lobster said with certainty. Jiang Changkong was speechless. You're so rich in the mortal world. How can you make a deity? For 1,000 years? How old are you? Jiang Changkong asked curiously. 4,001 years old. You can just say that you haven't seen it since you were born. How good would that be? Jiang Changkong ignored them and continued to process the immortal stone powder. The little Dragon King of the Eastern Sea continued to look at the Mermaid King, waiting for her to wake up and finish his work. However, the Mermaid King obviously didn't hear the little Dragon King's prayer. A month had passed, and the Mermaid King still hadn't woken up. Half a month is a genius. In this 1 month, a monster? Jiang Changkong was a little surprised. He didn't expect the Mermaid King to be so talented. He asked casually, how long did little Dragon King soak in it? The little Dragon King raised his head and said proudly, 2 months. When did you become an immortal? 4,000 years, and you are still in the early stage of martial immortal. Is your talent fake? Jiang Changkong asked. I became an immortal when I was 1,000 years old. Then I stagnated. The little Dragon King was proud at first. Towards the end, he lowered his head and looked sad. Stagnated? Jiang Changkong frowned. What's the reason? I don't know. I didn't improve no matter how I cultivated. Chapter 471. 1,000 years was like taking a nap for the dragon race. Even with the ability to level up and the acceleration of treasures, Jiang Changkong still used 100 years. Little Dragon King was quite talented, but it was puzzling that he couldn't make any progress in 3,000 years. Little Dragon King didn't know the reason, so Jiang Changkong didn't say anything. Although he belonged to the East Sea, he wasn't familiar with the Dragon King. It was better to leave it to the Mermaid King. The Mermaid King was Little Dragon King Sr. His essence, breath, and spirit were all taken care of. 2 million essence, breath, and spirit. He should be fine now that he had made a big progress. He didn't rush to break through and waited for the Mermaid King to wake up. After another half a month, the Mermaid King finally woke up. Its tail slapped the golden ascension pool. It transformed into a pair of human legs and wore a blue dress that covered its fair skin. The Sea King's scepter also absorbed a lot of the ascension pool's golden liquid and became an immortal artifact. As if it sensed something, the Mermaid King came before Little Dragon King and bowed. Mermaid King Ao Qingyu of the 13 Sea Kings greets the true dragon. This is the Dragon King. The giant lobster swayed a few times and reminded him. He sounded very excited. The king of the mermaids was very respectful. He recognized the true dragon at a glance and was very respectful. As a god-level lobster, it was naturally happy. Little Dragon King was taken aback. 13 Sea Kings? Mermaid King? Aren't the 13 Sea Kings that giant octopus? Dragon King. Ao Qingyu was startled and looked at Little Dragon King in disbelief. You are a Dragon King? An early-stage martial immortal, a true dragon about the same age as her, could be the Dragon King? However, she quickly calmed down and replied, I'm one of the 13 Sea Kings of the East Sea. Back then, I guarded the East Sea with the first Sea King, Ao Ting. Ao Ting? Who is that? Little Dragon King was confused. The lobster lay on the ground and said excitedly, Lobster welcomes the return of the ancestor. Ancestor? Jiang Chankong's mouth twitched. The Mermaid King was also an ancestor in the immortal world? Little Dragon King was still confused. He pulled the lobster and asked, Uncle Lobster, she's an ancestor? Little Dragon King. Ao Ting, that's your little grandpa, the lobster said quickly. Grandpa? What should I call her, Grandma? The little Dragon King looked at the Mermaid King timidly, as if he was afraid. Since you're the Dragon King, then you're my king. I dare not overstep my boundaries. Dragon King, please call me by my name and follow my orders. Ao Qingyu hurriedly helped the lobster up. Tell me, where is big brother Ao Ting? Ancestor Ao Ting has already passed away. The godly giant lobster said mournfully. How could this be? Ao Qingyu was in disbelief as she staggered backward. Big brother Ao Ting should have become an immortal long ago and lived for eternity. Ahem, let's talk about this later. Let's register our information first so that I can go to the immortal world to take a look. Jiang Chankong coughed lightly. Yes, you are in the 12 mortal realms of the Eastern Sea. He took out a jade tablet and started to record the information. Ao Qingyu looked at the little Dragon King. Dragon King, are there any other true dragons in the dragon race? East Sea is gone. Little Dragon King grabbed the corner of his clothes and was a little nervous. After all, this was his grandmother's generation. And gone? Ao Qingyu's face turned pale, and she was on the verge of collapsing. Jiang Chankong helped her up. Don't fall into someone else's territory. If you want to fall into the ascension pool. What do you mean? Ao Qingyu asked in a daze. Jiang Chankong was afraid that she could not take the blow, so he sighed and said, I better not say it. The godly giant lobster also shut up. However, little Dragon King did not understand that. He said with a childish and timid voice, The Ascension Pool is the territory of the Dragon Palace. The area beyond 1 meter is not. 1 meter? The Mermaid King's face turned pale. Only 1 meter? Even the Dragon Palace can't fit inside. It can fit inside. Jiang Chankong asked little Dragon King to move a little. When the palm-sized palace appeared, the Mermaid King's face darkened, and the immortal power around him could not help but go berserk. This is too much. This is too much. Ao Qingyu clenched her fists, and the sea god's scepter shone with azure light. 1 meter of territory, palm-sized dragon palace, early-stage martial immortal little Dragon King. All of these stimulated the Mermaid King and drove her crazy. Grandma, it's so scary. Little Dragon King's face turned pale as he hid behind the godly giant lobster. The godly giant lobster was also trembling in fear. He quickly handed the jade tablet in his hand to Jiang Chankong. Register it. Don't lose it. Thanks. Goodbye. Jiang Chankong took the jade tablet and prepared to leave. Stop. The Mermaid King shouted. Jiang Chankong stopped in his tracks. What? It's very dangerous outside. I'll contact the Heavenly Court and find a job for you. You could be a heavenly soldier. Little Dragon King said in a low voice, If you go out like this, the monsters in the sea will eat you. I feel that I will be the one to eat them. Jiang Chankong said indifferently. He would find a place to cultivate in seclusion when he went out. He would look for immortal stones when he came out. Ao Qingyu took a deep breath and said, I've helped you so much before. You're also from the East Sea. Take it as helping the East Sea Dragon race for the sake of your homeland. Jiang Chankong frowned. He looked at little Dragon King and then at the godly giant lobster. They say shrimp soldiers and crab generals. If your lobster is a general, what about the crabs? There are no crabs, little Dragon King said pitifully. The godly giant lobster was a little embarrassed. The East Sea Dragon race only has me and the Dragon King. Jiang Chankong rubbed his brows. Mermaid King, you're even more unreliable than me. The Mermaid King was also a little embarrassed, but she couldn't let Jiang Chankong go. The East Sea Dragon race was too difficult. Chankong, Let's go back to the Dragon Palace first to understand the situation. It's also very dangerous for you to go out rashly. You can learn about the situation in the lower celestial world first. The Mermaid King sighed helplessly. She could only understand the situation first. All right, Jiang Changkong shrugged. He shrank his body and entered the palm-sized Dragon Palace with them. It was said that a small sparrow had all its organs, but the Dragon Palace obviously didn't follow this logic. There was nothing in the palm-sized Dragon Palace except a few stone chairs and an intact dragon throne made of stone. This Dragon King is really living a miserable life. Little Dragon King sat on the dragon throne and looked at them. The godly giant lobster stood outside the door. Ancestor, rest assured, Dragon King. I'll definitely protect the Dragon Palace. Jiang Changkong covered his face and sighed. What's the point of guarding such a broken palace? This whole palace probably isn't as valuable as this godly giant lobster. You come in too. The Dragon King is young. He might not be able to explain clearly. Ao, Qingyu said. The godly giant lobster thought about it and shrank his body to enter the palace. A human, a mermaid, a young dragon, and a godly giant lobster stared at each other. Ao Qingyu looked at the godly giant lobster. Tell me, why did the East Sea Dragon Palace fall to such a state? The true dragons have either fallen or disappeared. There's only one dragon egg in the East Sea, which is the current Dragon King. My father is a shrimp soldier guarding the Dragon Palace. He's been waiting for the Dragon King to hatch. The godly giant lobster told the godly giant lobster the history of the Dragon Palace. Chapter 472. Even the current Dragon King did not know where the ancient gods had gone. All he knew was that the ancient true dragons were no longer around. Even the true dragon's talents had been suppressed. Just like the Eastern Sea's little Dragon King, she was a pure true dragon. She was at least close to a god when she was born. As long as he cultivated casually, he could basically become an immortal. But the newly born little Dragon King was very weak. He was only a star path martial artist and was struggling in the Eastern Sea. The East Sea Dragon Palace was leaderless, and the demon monarchs rebelled. Fortunately, the heavenly court intervened and conferred her the title of East Sea Dragon King, which prevented the demon kings from eating her. However, since then, the territory of the East Ocean Dragon clan had been shrinking. In the end, all that was left was the Ascension Pool, which had a radius of 1 meter. What resources could there be in such a small territory? The little Dragon King's talent was pretty good. In 1,000 years, he had cultivated to the early stage martial immortal realm. But the nightmare followed, and he could not take another step forward. The East Ocean Dragon Palace was emptied by those demon kings. Ao Qingyu asked coldly. The monster kings took a portion, but the majority was taken by the heavenly court. Otherwise, the heavenly court wouldn't have taken action. The divine lobster said helplessly. Back then, the heavenly court had an extremely good relationship with the true dragon race. How did this happen? Ao Qingyu frowned. That was the heavenly court of the past. The current heavenly court was re-established after the ancient immortal gods disappeared. Even the immortal court and divine court were born after the primordial era. The divine lobster explained. Ao Qingyu's expression turned ugly. What's the realm of the strongest demonic monarch in the East Sea? Celestial immortal. The near-divine dragon prawn said softly. Jiang Changkong pondered and said, What about your father? He used to guard the Dragon Palace. Where is he now? He was killed by a demon king. The divine lobster was depressed. Before my father died, he still believed that the true dragon would return and the Eastern Sea would prosper again. Heavenly immortal. Ao Qingyu frowned. She was currently only a martial immortal. Milk? Dragon King. Please call me Qingyu or the 13 Ocean Kings, said Ao Qingyu. That is the 13 Sea Kings. The little Dragon King felt a little wronged. He was also a little afraid of this ancestor. For 1,000 years old, was really a child for the dragon race. After all, the dragon race could easily become immortals. There was almost nothing that they couldn't do. For them, it would be embarrassing to call themselves adults unless they were tens of thousands of years old. The little Dragon King took out a jade tablet and said, I I will ask for an immortal register for all of you. In the future, we will work together for the heavenly court. Beg? A complicated look appeared on Ao Qingyu's face, but she didn't say anything. Thank you, Dragon King. Wait, is there anything wrong with the immortal record? For example, will it limit the improvement of strength? Jiang Changkong stopped the Dragon King. In his past life, he had read some stories about the divine sealed decree of myths and legends. It was said that it was impossible for anyone on this list to increase their strength any further. Although he didn't know much about this world, it was better to be careful. No, it can't be. Many great immortals have made breakthroughs. Little Dragon King stuttered. Let's not talk about the immortal records for now. Let's discuss how to restore the glory of the East Sea. Ao Qingyu changed the topic. Although the East Sea and the Heavenly Court were not on equal footing back then, they would not be ordered around by the Heavenly Court, much less snatch the treasures of the Dragon Palace. Ancestor, things are no longer the same as before. Even our surroundings have been destroyed. Even our surroundings are surrounded by at least 5 peak, martial, immortal, monstrous kings. There are also many human immortals in the distance. The divine dragon lobster quickly said, afraid that Ao Qingyu would rush out and die without knowing the situation. I don't care about peak, martial, immortal, monstrous king. What do you think, Changkong? The Mermaid King looked at Jiang Changkong. With Jiang Changkong's talent, he would definitely be top-notch in the celestial realm. As long as he was given some time, as long as he was willing, he would definitely be able to restore the East Sea. I don't know if I can deal with a peak, martial, immortal, monstrous king. Jiang Changkong pondered and said, I have some enlightenment after ascending to the celestial realm, so I plan to go into seclusion. We'll talk about it after I come out. 13 Sea Kings. This is the ancestral dragon scripture. It's for you. The little Dragon King of the East Sea suddenly took out a golden beast skin with special words on it. Dragon King. The ancestral dragon scripture is a scripture passed down by the ancestors of the dragon race. How can you get it to me? Ao Qingyu was startled and firmly refused. Ancestor, just take it. The divine dragon prawn sighed and said, It's not like before. Almost everyone knows the ancestral dragon scripture now. What? Ao Qingyu's expression changed drastically. Mermaid King, do you think the Dragon Palace can still protect the ancestral dragon scripture? Jiang Changkong asked. Ao Qingyu had a guilty expression. I'm sorry, Dragon King. I can't protect the true dragon race. Even the ancestral dragon scripture was taken by an outsider. The 13 Sea Kings and the monstrous kings of the sea races all know the ancestral dragon scripture. If you don't have the ancestral dragon scripture, it'll be very disadvantageous for you, the divine dragon prawn said. The little Dragon King of the East Sea nodded. That's right. 13 Sea Kings, just take it. Ao Qingyu smiled bitterly. Thank you for your gift, Dragon King. I won't let you down. Jiang Changkong remained silent. The group continued chatting. The little Dragon King of the East Sea only had some understanding of the surroundings. He had no idea what was happening outside. The sky gradually darkened. The little Dragon King rested on the dragon throne, while the divine dragon prawn guarded the dragon palace loyally. Jiang Changkong and Ao Qingyu walked out of the dragon palace. They were not in a good mood. Changkong, I'm not asking you to help the dragon palace. It's just that it's too difficult for the Dragon King. I'm begging you to help. The two of them left the dragon palace. Ao Qingyu summoned the giant lobster and set up an immortal power barrier. This is not the Mermaid King I know. Jiang Changkong smiled. The current Mermaid King no longer had the arrogance of a king like when he was in the mortal world. Instead, he looked more like an ordinary person. The East Sea Dragon Palace's burden was too heavy. Jiang Changkong sighed and said, Your mission should be in the mortal world, right? Ao Qingyu nodded and then shook her head. I'm indebted to the Dragon King for giving me the surname Ao. That's why there are the 13 Sea Kings. I won't let you down. I'll work hard for the East Sea Dragon race. The giant lobster was moved. Patriarch, I'll give everything for the East Sea Dragon race with you. Jiang Changkong had a complicated expression. The gray divine power in his palm turned into a dragon. I still remember the message left by the 8th Sea King. What message? Ao Qingyu was puzzled. The immortal artifact will only be given to Earth. Since I'm from Earth, I'm also a part of the East Sea. Jiang Changkong said firmly. Mermaid King, don't worry. When I come out of seclusion, the monster kings below the martial deity realm can only submit to me. Thank you. I want to give you the ancestral dragon scripture too. With it, you won't be afraid of those monster kings. Ao Qingyu pondered. The ancestral dragon scripture was everywhere now. Even if she didn't give it to him, Jiang Changkong could ask those monster kings for it. The divine dragon lobster quickly said, Yes, Patriarch. It'll be easier for you to deal with the monster kings if you understand the ancestral dragon scripture. Jiang Changkong thought for a while and said, Then I'll have to give it to you. His first revolution mystic art was already powerful enough. He could use the ancestral dragon scripture as a reference to see what was so special about it. After all, in the eyes of the Mermaid King, he didn't have a powerful immortal Tao cultivation technique. Chapter 473. Ao Qingyu passed the dragon race's language to him and translated the ancestral dragon scripture for him. Jiang Changkong was shocked as he digested the ancestral dragon scripture. If one successfully cultivated the ancestral dragon scripture, one would be able to transform into a true dragon. When cultivated to the extreme, one could transform into the ancestral dragon true body, which was comparable to a sage. Compared to the saints in the stories of his past life, he wasn't sure which world was stronger. But the sages here were already at the pinnacle of the immortal world. Jiang Changkong and the East Ocean Dragon Palace didn't know if there were any saints or not. As for the ancestral dragon scripture, it was known as one of the strongest scriptures. Those who mastered it would be invincible among their peers. Similarly, it required the dragon race's bloodline. Ao Ling, the little dragon king, indicated that he could provide the dragon race's bloodline. Jiang Changkong looked at his own data. There was a change. Jiang Changkong, martial immortal, martial god, preliminary stage, first revolution of mysterious art. Basic, 1/8000, acquired chaotic Taoist body. Basic, 1/8000 ancestral dragon scripture level 1. Incomplete introductory, 0/500 essence, energy, and spirit. 0 Jiang Changkong hadn't extracted the essence, energy, and spirit of more than 2 million. The ancestral dragon scripture seemed to be much weaker than his first revolution mysterious art. However, it was incomplete. Following that, 3 more messages came. Ancestral dragon scripture level 1, incomplete, completed, 50,000 essence, chi, and spirit complete. Ancestral dragon scripture level 2, incomplete, replenish 100,000 essence, chi, and spirit complete. The third level of the ancestral dragon scripture, incomplete, is incomplete. It requires 200,000 essence, chi, and spirit. Do you want to complete it? The first level of the ancestral dragon scripture corresponded to martial immortals, human immortals, and heaven immortals. There were only 3 floors, nothing higher. Jiang Changkong didn't think it was expensive to replenish his essence, chi, and spirit. When he continued to cultivate, the amount of essence, chi, and spirit he needed would be terrifying. After some thought, Jiang Changkong chose to complete the first level. It was just 50,000 essence, and he hadn't even used up all of it. Not long after, a large amount of information flooded his mind. The ancestral dragon was the first divine dragonborn at the beginning of the world. Its legacy originated from the chaos demon god, the chaos ancestral dragon. If a cultivator had primal chaos divine energy, they could form the primal chaos dragon body. When cultivated to the extreme, one could revert from postnatal to prenatal, transforming into a chaos ancestral dragon and becoming a chaos demon god. Chaotic dragon body, chaos demon god, chaos ancestor dragon. His first revolution mystic art was obviously stronger, and now the data had changed again. Ancestral dragon scripture level 1. Entry 0/1000H. His first revolution mysterious art was 8 times stronger than the ancestral dragon scripture. This ancestral dragon scripture the ancestral dragon cultivation technique, came from the chaos demon god. Moreover, he could return to Xiantian. His first revolution mysterious art should also be able to return to Xiantian, right? He would not cultivate for the time being. His acquired chaotic Taoist body was already extremely strong. He would cultivate first. The first revolution mysterious art was 8 times more powerful than the ancestral dragon scripture, and the acquired chaotic Tao body was also 8 times more powerful. Those who did not cultivate the ancestral dragon scripture were even worse. With his first revolution mysterious art, he reckoned that he would be able to dominate the world. We'll talk about it later. If it's possible, I'll cultivate now. Jiang Changkong thought about it and decided not to cultivate for the time being. The reason why he cultivated in the future was to accumulate his foundation. If it was as he had guessed, the first revolution mysterious art was the minor Pangu. Pangu would have died the moment he opened the sky. If he cultivated the ancestral dragon scripture, he should be able to surpass Pangu, right? His heart was getting a little too big. Seclusion first, seclusion later. Ao Qingyu and the lobster had already left. Jiang Changkong sank into the ground and started seclusion. After extracting 2 million essences, he was left with about 30,000. To reach the initial success, he needed 40,000 essences, which was 5 times more. Luckily, this multiple was still acceptable. Less than 500,000 essences were used to cultivate the Taoist body and the first revolution mysterious art to perfection. The chaotic divine power in his body became more and more terrifying. This time, there were no lines of power forming. Instead, there was a hint of azure light in his body. The transformation was faster than Jiang Changkong had imagined. He did not know if it was because he was in the celestial world, but he only used 1 day. Jiang Changkong, peak martial immortal, martial god, first revolution mysterious art, perfection, 1/1, 000, acquired chaotic Taoist body, perfection, 1/1, 000, essence, spirit, 1504000. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Changkong completed the first revolution mysterious art and added the remaining 500,000 essences to his Taoist body. The first revolution mysterious art reached perfection, and his acquired Tao body was greatly strengthened. There was a hint of azure light in Jiang Changkong's body, and his strength increased by more than 10 times. It was no problem for him to defeat his previous self. Jiang Changkong, peak martial immortal, martial god, first revolution mysterious art, perfection, 1/1, 000, acquired chaotic Taoist body, perfection, 500, 000/1, 000, essence, spirit, 4002-inch peak martial immortal. I can become a human immortal at any time, Jiang Changkong said with satisfaction. After all, they were all accumulated in the mortal world. It was already very powerful for him to reach this level. If he didn't have to cultivate the Taoist body, he could directly become a human immortal. The gray, chaotic divine power flowed through his body as if it had all the power in the world. He raised his palm, and the gray, chaotic divine power contained a hint of the aura of death. Death heavenly blade. With a thought, it turned into the flames of the sun, which could burn the sky and boil the sea. Not only could it be divided, but its original characteristics were still there. The death heavenly blade's dominance could kill without injury, and it could be used silently with chaotic divine power. The white cloud great Tao could also suppress the opponent. Jiang Changkong was not in a hurry to come out. He began to familiarize himself with these abilities. During the year in the mortal world, he didn't have a chance to familiarize himself with the new power, because he was too powerful. A wisp of his aura could shake the starry sky. A slight carelessness could destroy the mortal world. About a month later, a cold shout woke up Jiang Changkong. Dragon King of the East Sea, get out here. My seawater is not clean. Go and purify it. Presumptuous! Ao Qingyu yelled and appeared outside the East Sea Dragon Palace. Presumptuous? Oh, the East Sea Dragon Palace has a new master? An early stage martial immortal dares to stop me? A huge python looked at Ao Qingyu in disdain. Big worm, get out. The little dragon king of the East Sea looked at the python angrily. The divine lobster stood in front of the little dragon king and looked at the python warily. What a loyal little lobster. Can you stop me? The python sneered and spread its aura. Late stage martial immortal. The dignity of the dragon king cannot be challenged. Ao Qingyu said coldly. The sea god scepter shone and turned into a barrier. Dignity? This is hilarious. It's not the first time you've purified water. Why are you talking about dignity now? The python sneered and its eyes turned cold. Dragon King, are you going to follow me, or do you want me to do it myself? The pressure of a late-stage martial immortal enveloped the barrier and shattered it. Ao Qingyu's expression darkened. The divine lobster was already pressed to the ground. It was not fear, but the gap was too big. It couldn't bear the pressure. The little dragon king's expression changed. A hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Are you going to roast yourself, or do you want me to roast you? A cold voice was heard. Jiang Chongkong, who was sitting cross-legged, rose from the ground. Chongkong, you've come out, Ao Qingyu said in surprise. Let's work together to stop him. So there's another one. The python's eyes were filled with killing intent. A ray of blue, immortal power slashed down. I'll kill you all and catch the little dragon king. I'll eat sea snakes today. Jiang Chongkong snorted coldly. He raised his palm and crushed the immortal power. His palm was like a curtain of the sky as it pressed down. A powerful divine aura spread out, and everything within 1,000 meters was suppressed. You're a peak martial immortal? The python said in shock. Before it could unleash its immortal power, it was caught by Jiang Chongkong. A late-stage martial immortal python couldn't even take a single attack from him. You're actually a peak martial immortal? Ao Qingyu said in surprise. She thought Jiang Chongkong was a demon-level genius to be able to reach the peak of the early-stage martial immortal realm. She never expected him to reach the peak of the martial immortal realm.